Welcome everybody to the JumboCast Twitch channel. We got CSL action week number 4, I think, of playoffs. And we got an exciting matchup here in the losers bracket between Tufts University Blue and Penn State JV. Adi, this is such an important match. We've been talking a little bit about playoffs, and for the past couple of weeks, we've been a little bit lax. We've been saying, yeah, we're in the winners bracket right now, so none of the matches are super important, but now it's really winner go home.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously before we never really wanted to leave the losers or the winners bracket, but like you're saying, there was a little bit of that safety net, but that safety net is gone now. We are now in the losers bracket, and if we lose, that's it. That's the season.
Yeah, it's either of these teams could be playing their final series today. But for Penn State, this is not something that's too unusual. They've been in the losers bracket for quite a bit now, actually losing their first round matchup against University of Waterloo JV, which Adi was the team that Tufts lost to in the previous week. So a little bit of consistency there, but Penn State's definitely been riding high. They've won their last 2 series in losers bracket, going to try and make it a third here today.
Yeah, and just talking about that Waterloo game, it was kind of showing, that Tufts they were on a hot streak before. They were kind of like running a very similar style every game, playing around that top, having the bot lane that could play with it without like so much jungle attention, but still like make plays. But you know. Waterloo was just able to play around the map a lot better and really utilize the jungle in those lanes, and they were able to come away with that victory. So very interesting to see how Tussle, come back. It's been a couple weeks since that game, so definitely going to be an interesting game of League of Legends today.
Yeah, we were on a bit of a break, just the past week due to the spring break and all. But now that we are back, it's now Tufts has had some time to kind of regroup a little bit. And so hopefully now both of these teams have really kind of honed their strategies a little bit more and are really ready to take this series. But Adi, we got to talk about the starting lineups just a little bit because there's a little bit of some unusual things right now. Constantly Malden, Constantine Valdor, whatever you want to call it. Just a couple of name changes there, and they'll be going up against Penn State, who consist of Duckwings in the top lane, Mooch in the jungle, Mr. Lazy in the mid lane, Dystopia Reaper ADC, and support Rooks.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna take me a while to get used to those name changes. I feel like it was just last week. Actually, no, it was like just last week where like Constantine Valdor switched to constantly Malding. But it's okay. We'll find a way to keep up.
It's not it's not too big of a deal. We all know who we are, talking about. Hopefully, at this point, none of the champion pools or anything have really changed. They're all the same people that are behind the monitors. So, super excited to see how this one plays out. But Adi, there's a bunch of different interesting lane matchups that we could talk about before we head into the champ select for game 1, which will happen in a couple of minutes. I think one thing that would be super interesting to talk about is the bot lanes.
Yeah, I mean, balling, it's just been like a really interesting role with the season in general. It's, had a lot of movement with like, what's been meta, a lot of changes to like the items, really like bringing up certain ADs and bringing others down. We started off with kind of like the Jin or Bust ADC meta with a little bit of Swain, in solo queue, but people were finding some things to play in the 5v5s. But now I feel like the ADC meta is a lot more traditional. You have a lot more like Jinx, a lot more Tristana, at least like running around like solo queue and stuff, and even like LCS, you've been seeing a lot more picks like that. So um, overall, I feel like it's like kind of widened up, but I think across these two ADs, they have relatively similar pools. So we'll see how like each team tries to play around constricting those.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, especially considering the bot lane that we have here for Penn State. We got Dystopia Reaper and Rooks. But if you look at kind of their recent match histories and stuff, they're both mid lane mains. I mean, Rooks, you could maybe argue that support and mid lane you could be pretty similar. They have a lot of champions like Morgana, Xerath, Vel'Koz even, but the most played champion in Rooks' play style is Ziggs actually, something that we won't probably see in the support role. So it's going to be interesting to see what the bot lane really decides to do and operate around, because I wouldn't be surprised if we see some really crazy picks coming out of them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I mean, as we know that like what you play in solo queue doesn't always have to translate to like what you play in these 5v5 games. You know, it's like what you've been practicing. I think Tufts has had a bit of fluidity with their lane assignments in solo queue as well. We've had Justin in Easy Life, you know, switch that one time, and
Yeah.
Belisarius. Oh, I'm not gonna get used to that anytime soon. You know, plays a lot of AD before as well, so that's gonna be very interesting. But like you're saying, because there's like that favoring in the like the mid type role in that bot lane, we might see some interesting compositions with more major like you know mid lane champ focused bot lanes.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, the flexibility is something that is clearly there. I don't know if they'll necessarily want to pull it out, but we might be able to see something like that. But another pick that is definitely going to be contested is Senna, one of Belisarius's most played champions and one of Rook's most played champions as well. And we all know that Jan can also play that down in the bot lane, so wouldn't be too surprised to see that one come up super heavily in the picks and bans for this first game. We're going to start it off with Tufts on the red side, with Penn State going on the blue side. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of modifications to the draft these teams decide to make, as there's a bit of shared champion pools that these guys have.
Yeah, and speaking of shared champion pool, I think one other lane, or one other, I guess not really a lane, but one other role I want to talk about is the jungle role because, you know, I feel like typically there's been like some contention, you know, always focusing for that like Udyr or like that Hecarim or like maybe some other like niche playmaking jungler for each side. But I feel like right now, not only are like is like they're going to be a bit of that, but there's also going to be a bit of a overlap in, you know, like champions that both junglers play. So we might see a bit of a more jungle focused draft, you know, which is kind of different because in the past I feel like Tufts has been electing to take that jungle role later, you know, so that if they're picking like Hecarim without the rel, they don't like you know get it like countered so easily. But this time they may have to pick it early.
Yeah, I mean, it's not super unusual to see the junglers picked in the first rotation of the draft, but we have obviously seen Adi the Morns being more of the priority here in the draft, trying to get the counters for him as well. And there's been a couple of recent changes to the jungle meta. One thing that it would be kind of interesting if we do see come out potentially is that Trundle. Did get a buff recently on the previous patch. Now has the Q cooldown come up a lot sooner. The cooldown got shortened by about a second, and so if you're trying to use it as a counter pick into champions like the Olaf, or even a tank like the Sejuani, wouldn't be surprised to see something like that come out. Definitely something that Mooch and Morn both have in their champion pools. Another thing that they both have in their champion pools, though, is that Hecarim, which has seen so much priority lately.
Hmm. Yeah, Hecarim's just been really strong, and with I think a minor nerf coming up in that last patch, should be a little weaker, but overall just a really strong champion, really strong presence in that jungle, and can definitely be a contended, like a very contentious pick.
Yeah, I mean, did get a couple of damage nerfs on the Q in terms of base damage. Wouldn't be surprised if some of the teams decide to start moving away from the more tanky turbo chem tank builds and go more towards the Divine Sunder, just so you have a little bit less base stats now in your kit. But yeah, definitely will be interesting to see how that one comes out. Another interesting thing that we can look at is this top lane, though. We got Duck Wings going up against Justinian, and just taking a look at some of their champion pools, a lot of it's similar. You got Nar and Camille, both champions that these guys really value in terms of their solo queue or their competitive play. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some trades, some bans, or some contests for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously there's the Argentine imports. Oh, not Argentine import anymore. Justinian Scion as well. But typically we've seen him like go for those champions like Camille and Nar, and so if those are kind of favored for both sides, we might see some again priority up there, especially because Tufts in the past has been putting a lot of effort towards like getting that top lane strong and getting Justinian to try to carry the team through the mid game, right? Just make plays there for both Morn and Justinian to profit off of, and you know help come down for those dragon fights.
There is a slight delay in the picks and bans. We're really sorry about that. But we are about to get underway. regardless in just a couple of minutes. So just keep everyone ready for this. Super excited for this game. It is once again a best of three. And yeah, the winner of this series will continue to move on. And the loser will be packing their bags for the semester. But Adi, just looking at the bracket real quickly again, I just want to just point something out. There's been a lot of different matchups here, and the interesting thing is there's still so much more League of Legends to play. In order for anybody to win the tournament, we're gonna have to win like 9 or 10 more games. So it's just gonna be a lot of huge grind to try and get through.
Yeah, and you know what? I think over here from the Captain's desk, we're really hoping that we get to keep this run alive. Because I don't know about you, but I'm definitely ready to cast like 9 or 10 more games. You know.
Yeah, me too, Adi. And I think we're about to get started on the pro draft. It is finally time to begin this series here in the CSL playoffs. Penn State on the blue side, Tufts on the red side. Both of the team mascots are blue, so won't be seeing any teams matching up perfectly with their respective colors. But either way, it doesn't really matter. We're heading to draft in just a couple of minutes, and we'll see you in there right now. Here we go. Bands are about to go underway.
And starting off with Penn State ban. Obviously, Penn State electing to take that blue side, or I think they're the ones who like to take blue side. But yeah, Seraphine ban coming out. Just as AD main, I have been banning Seraphine every time. She's just so utterly broken. That ultimate, I never see it coming. It's like from off the screen. Like I don't know, you know. Just a really good champion, really strong, can be flexed in a lot of different roles, and makes sense to take that off the board really quickly.
Yeah, and already we're seeing some intense power picks being taken off the table for Penn State. Seraphine and Rel, both champions that are B1able, honestly, in terms of the priority that they have in their kits and how powerful they are in this current meta. Tufts, meanwhile, has tried to go a little bit more towards specifically targeting some of the players here on Penn State. We got Fiora being taken away for Duckwings. Definitely a good matchup into things like the Scion and even the Camille. We got Karthus being taken away as well, a champion that Mooch and Dystopian Reaper really like to play. And the Hecarim also being taken away, but Penn State is going to respond with that B1 a lot.
Yeah, and a lot of bot lane focus for this Penn State, you know, taking with Seraphine, Rel, and Senna, you know, those are all champions that we've seen. Jensu and oh yeah, I'm just gonna call him Constantly Mulder right now because I don't see the username up right there. Constantly Mulder have been playing really well, and we've seen a lot of first pick Rels recently, but obviously now with that taken away, we're gonna have to see something else.
Yeah, a lot of possibilities here. Things like the Leona are still available. Even things like the Thresh we've seen. Belisari still pull out Constantine, whatever you want to say. But it's just going to be a response here in the jungle. Adi, we were talking about the junglers having some early priority in the draft potentially, and we were certainly right on that. And we got the first 2 picks going into the jungle with the Olaf and Udyr matchup going to happen here. And Jansu back on a comfort pick here in the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about those one at a time. You know, Olaf and Udyr are just like really strong picks right now. Like we said, they've been like kind of coming up a lot in popularity in that jungle. Udyr has been hit by a couple bans, but still been such a menace. And the Kai'Sa is just, you know, really strong AD. Like, she's definitely gotten some nerfs, but you know, after with that like Kraken / Gale Force plus Collector build, you know, she's been really strong and really makes sense for that first pick. But it's gonna be responded with Xayah.
Yeah, typical, you know, handshake agreement, Kai'Sa for Xayah. Something that you quite often see here in the bot lane so far. Many would argue that Kai'Sa has a slight advantage, but nothing too severe. And it's going to be going over to Dystopia Reaper. Nothing too unusual in terms of the bot lane pickups just yet. It is interesting that the Karthus was taken away. Just thinking that potentially a Karthus bot would be something that we could see. But it's also going to be Shen picked up. Now this could be a flex pick, could go to the support, could go to the top lane. So it will be interesting to see how that one turns out.
Yeah, but I think the Shen definitely does fit in really well. It has the ability to like help make those dives really strong with that Olaf, you know, just like putting a Shen ulti on top of an Olaf with the Ragnarok, just going under the tower, trying to, you know, mess up the Kai'Sa plus maybe whatever mid lane pick Tufts decide to go for, like the Ahri, and it also has the ability to like protect the Xayah and help her carry those mid to late game fights.
Yeah, Shen, definitely one of those champions that you really like seeing with an Olaf. Olaf definitely synergizes really well with things like shields, allowing him to get into the backline as fast as possible. Wouldn't be surprised to also see something like a Karma coming through in the draft as well. Rooks definitely enjoys playing more of these long-range enchanter/mage supports, so wouldn't be surprised to see that targeted as well. Ari being locked in for Tufts is definitely interesting. One of Easy Life's most played champions, one of his best champions, and has been receiving a lot of love in the meta recently.
Yeah, definitely one of the champions we've seen from him, especially in these like in the CSL in the last few weeks, and I think it's like signaling like a new direction for Easy Life, going away from the more like supporty type mid laners like the Orianna or the Galio or whatever, and starting to go more carry like the Ari or Talon, and I think it's been going pretty well for Tufts. I think his Ari has just been super strong, and we're excited to see how this mid lane matchup goes, especially with Tufts banning out Cassidy and the Victor.
Yeah, it looks like the mid lane has been the target here in this second ban phase for the Jumbos at the very least. Don't think Nautilus will be heading over to the mid lane anytime soon, but it looks like Constantly Malden is once again being targeted here in the second phase with these tanky supports being taken off the table. It's interesting to note that Belisarius or Constantine really started off being more of a ranged support player, you know, playing things like the Yumi or the Lulu or the Morgana, so wouldn't it be surprised to see a bit of a return to the roots here in any case?
Yeah. I like again, like Penn State did show a lot of love for the support role with those bans early, and it's I feel like gonna make it hard for Tufts to pick a good support with this Kaisa, especially because the Leona, Nautilus, and Rel are all taken away, but we get the Scion from Justinian in the top lane.
Yeah, definitely super exciting to see that one come out. One of my personal favorite champions in the Scion, and definitely one of Justinian's favorite as well. You know, going against the Shen, not the best matchup for him, but definitely a champion that you can just send weak side, just wait for them to get tanky and scale up really well, and just kind of handshake the laning phase, because it doesn't look like either of them really want to try to win that one that super hard. Penn State's going to come in with the Anivia lock-in. It's going to be interesting though with the Gangplank as well. This is a strange team composition. It looks like they're going to send the Shen down into the bottom lane alongside Dystopia's Zaya, with the Gangplank going over to Duckwing in the top lane.
Yeah, interesting. You know, I was gonna say if you're not expecting a counter pick in the top lane, then Nivea is very good against that side. You know, just the ability to put up a wall and disrupt a lot of the engage potential that Scion has. But the Gangplank itself is taken against that Scion, so very interesting. And we have the Rakan actually coming out from the side of Tufts here to pair with that Kaisa.
Rakan is a champion that we don't really see too often, has kind of fallen off in favor of a lot of the champions that actually did get banned away, like the Rel, Nautilus, or the Leona. So seeing Belisarius pick that one up to match alongside Jan's Kaisa is going to be super interesting to see, super exciting to see. It probably seems just like a little bit more of a classic bot lane, honestly, just seeing these two champions match up. But it's going to be against a Zaya Shen, so pretty interesting to see how that one's going to turn out.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. You know, I think overall Penn State has like picked champions that are like kind of good into the general comp from Tufts. You know, Tufts has the Rakan, the Scion, the Ari, the Kaisa. You know, 4 champions that just really love to dive onto the backline, and with people like Zaya and Anivia, those are champions that are really fine with people like trying diving in, because they can use that to like kind of take control with the roots, the Featherstorm, the Anivia ulti. You know, there's just a lot of tools they have to try to weather the onslaught from Tufts. So very interesting. But on the side of Tufts, they do have a lot of playmaking potential, so we're gonna see if that's gonna be enough to get them an advantage into those mid late game fights.
Yeah, just looking at the comps again, seeing this Olaf first pick and then seeing the rest of the champs that kind of follow it is a little bit confusing to me, to say the least. I mean, Olaf is definitely one of the champions that really likes going in, and then when you pair him with things like Zaya, Anivia, Gangplank, these are champions that really like having people engage into them. So seeing a bit of a disparity here in the draft will be interesting. We'll see how they really decide to play these team fights out. Maybe it'll just be Mooch going on the offensive in the early game, then playing more of a tanky role as we get later into the game, building things like that Gore Drinker. But on Tufts, a little bit more well-rounded, just a lot of mixed damage, kind of more all-around of a team comp.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing that like Tufts they have the ability to like play that 5v5, but if they're like looking over for those catches, it seems like they have the ability to look for those like plays with less resources than the side of Penn State, because it looks like if Penn State's trying to go for a pick, they need that Gangplank ulti coming down, they need that Shen ulti on top of that Olaf to try to run out the enemy team. But if there's just an Udyr or an Augur or something like that, finding out a Xayah or an Anivia just off in the side lane, it'll be much easier for them to make a play on that.
Yeah, certainly a lot of different abilities for Tufts to go for these certain picks. With even things like the Ari Charm followed up by Killer Instinct or just a Rakan engage as well. So will be super interesting to see how they decide to play these side lanes out, because there's a lot of disengage from Penn State. You have the Featherstorm coming out from Xayah, you got the oranges from Gangplank, and Anivia has so much zone control available, and of course the Shen can ult in to try and save any of his teammates whenever they want. So it's going to be there's so many different possibilities that can happen with these team compositions, and that's something that I really enjoy. Seeing in this game of League of Legends, you really don't know how the early game will kind of pan into the later stages, and so it'll definitely be interesting to watch at least like the first 10 or 15 minutes of the game to see how things work out.
Yeah, for sure. And I think some important things to watch out for are just like the bot lane. Like, it seems that Penn State is really going after that, like Xayah kind of carrying those team fights with the help of like Anivia, Shen, Peel. So if Tufts able to shut down that Xayah early, or if Penn State is able to get that Xayah super far ahead, it might kind of determine how the rest of the game is going to go.
Just a quick update. I wasn't even looking at the current client draft, but it actually is going to be Shen top, Gangplank mid, and then Rook's taking that Anivia down into the bottom lane. So we'll kind of talk about that in just a little bit, but we are going to take a bit of a break to head into a video just to hype us up, get us ready for this series. So we got Penn State versus Tufts in just a couple of minutes. We'll see you after this. Jansu, Constantine Valdor is here already, but the Chrono break back will pick up 2 kills from...
There's a little bit of fight breaking out.
Yeah, there's the Camille Gallia, but in the opposite direction, that's going to be Easy Life blocking up Bandit, and Jansu already doing a lot of damage. Lodge Wheels already falls, and so does Heart. The 2 carries for Marist are down. Can he get into the pit? He's going to get in there. There comes the hero's entrance. He steals the dragon for the 2nd time in a row. Are you kidding me, Morn? 2 steals in a row. 3-man taunt. Killer Instinct in. Mango is down. Argentine with the teleport. Another kill onto the Goblin. Foil is under attack. There comes the blob. No defense available for NYU.
They are to lock down the castle and having that Easy Life to not let anyone in.
Oh, so much damage there onto Croissant Bandit. He ends up falling though. Constantine will die in return, but Wheels is the next target. Easy Life will pick him up. Bear Dog trying to get one back onto the 80 carry, but no, a double kill going over to Jansu. And that's going to be called the Forge God. Siphius is looking for Jansu, and he finds him. That's going to be the flash E to try and get that brittle proc. And Jansu is running for his life. Looks like Siphius might have gone a little bit too far, though the root's going to finish him off, and that's going to be a shutdown from Argentine Import. Curtain call has opened up. This could be the turnaround that Tufts needs. Gaze coming out of Tuesday. This could be big for Lehigh. Stopwatch already used onto Constantine. That's going to be dead on. Welcome everybody to Summoner's Rift Game 1 here in the CSL Playoffs Losers Bracket. We got Penn State on the blue side, Tufts University Blue on the red side. That's a mouthful. I'm Andrew, joined here by Adi. And Adi, we really talked a lot about the draft, but things are a little bit different now. We see that the mid laners and ADCs did kind of swap roles according to the CSL website. No big deal, of course, but it does make a little bit more sense considering the champions that are going to their roles.
Yeah, I think before we thought it was going to be like GP top with Shen in the support and Nivea mid, but it's actually Shen's going to be top against that Scion and the GP in the mid lane with the Nivea in support, which kind of makes sense, based on like what these players like to play. Dystopia Reaper, has a lot of GP games, in solo queue recently, and I believe our Rooks also has a decent amount of Nivea games, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit more comfort for these guys. But nonetheless, well, same comp that we said for the side of Jumbos, and yeah, we should be getting into it soon.
Yeah, so just to go through it a little bit, Rooks is a player that really likes playing a lot of these mages. So when I was assuming the Shen was going to the top, down to the support role, it was a little bit odd, but does make a lot more sense now, especially considering, as you said, Adi, Dystopia Reaper plays a lot of GP, Rooks plays a lot of mages. This makes a lot more sense, and I also like it in terms of the matchups. Justinian, it will have a little bit of a harder time against the Shen than the GP, just in my experience of playing these certain Scion matchups, and so I do like the changes that they kind of made to the draft, and I think it'll probably help them turn up this game a little bit quicker.
Sure, and also the ability for GP to use that, orange against the Ari charm will definitely make it a lot easier for him to lane.
Yeah, certainly. So we have started the game. The jungle camps have spawned. The minions are in their lanes. Morn and Mooch both elected for a topside start. Probably going to go for those full clears. That's something that these junglers like to do. So wouldn't be too surprised to just see a bit of farming for these guys to start off.
Yeah, and bit of a trading back and forth in mid lane. Both players relatively low. It seems like Dystopia Reaper comes out a little bit ahead, but we have Sarius dashing in the bot lane.
Yeah, level 2 was hit first. Belisarius going in aggressively with the Grand Entrance, going to E back out safely. Jen also doing a nice job. Preyseeker going to add just a bit of an extra chunk of damage onto Mr. Lazy, sending him to half HP.
Yeah, this is something we've seen a lot out of this bot lane from the side of Jumbo, is just trying to use the playmaking abilities that come with level 2 to try to get incremental advantages, and that's like half health taken away from the side of Xayah, so definitely very good. But, on the other hand, in that top lane, we see a little bit of why that Shen is better into that Scion matchup.
Yeah, I definitely like this matchup for the Scion. I mean, for the Shen as well, just considering a lot of the HP damage that is available on things like the Key Strike. So it will be fun to see how that matchup really turns out. It's going to be up to Argentine to try and win this lane, because it's definitely going to be a little bit harder for him in this case.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just like not even that, the fact that Shen gets like such a big shield whenever he like uses those abilities or whenever his passes up, that means that like he's able to just take so much more favorable trades anyway, and the taunt just makes it a lot easier to take away the Scion Q damage.
Well, we see a bit of a 4v3 right now. Belisarius already chunked out pretty low. Looks like Mooch is going to flash in. Can he get the final damage? And it will be first blood going in for Penn State. Trade kill back and forth onto Dystopia Reaper. Now a 2v3, but looks like Penn State's a little bit behind enemy lines here. Morn's going to try and run away here with the bear stance. Meanwhile, on the top lane, though, Duckwing's going super aggressive onto Justinian. Going to flash for the slow on the Q. Going to trade that summoner spell back and forth. 2 for 1 to start this game off for Penn State.
Oh, but it looks like Easy Life might be caught out a little bit with TP coming in from Dystopia Reaper.
Yeah, it does have the flash available. Rooks is here, though. Does potentially have the ability to stun him up with the Q. Not going to happen. Blast Cone down safely. You got to trade the summoner spells there, but really good start here for Penn State. Had the early push in the mid lane, got the early advantage in the numbers department to start the fight off, and they end up with the 1-kill lead. But might change really quickly. The Grand Entrance is going to hit onto Mr. Lazy. Jansu does have plasma ticking, but it's going to be Belisarius that picks up the kill. So another even out in the kills, now 2 for 2, as it looks like Mr. Lazy will go down there.
Yeah, it's a really good job from the side of Belisarius. Recognizing that Anivia did try to take a little bit really late recall. Try to catch out Easy Life there, and because of that, the back timings were a little off, so they were able to find that 1v2 scenario.
Mooch did end up going over to the top lane to help try to crash that wave in for Duckwings, get him a decent back without the wave freezing into Justinian's turret. Doesn't look like it's going to be too much of a concern, though. Just a bit of trading back and forth. They did both just get pretty low in that engage. Justinian did use the teleport, and Ducklings will just use his, so not going to have too much global presence for the next couple of minutes until at least Justinian comes back up.
Yeah, and you know, both teams are like relatively even on gold. So a little bit of trade on the bot lane, but other than that, things seem to be going pretty even.
Looking at the kill distribution though, both of the kills from Penn State are onto Mooch, a champion that really values getting those early advantages, especially as you go towards these first and second clears. Get to that level 6, get to that core drinker as soon as possible, as it looks like that's the item that Mooch will be electing to go for here, just given the current build. And just looking at the builds right now, Phage Pickaxe versus Swifty Boots, definitely a big advantage going over to the Olaf.
Yeah, this Olaf's really strong with already 2,500 gold, but Morn's coming into the mid lane trying to catch a Dystopia Reaper.
Does have to use the flash. Morn's going to keep going in with the Tiger stance, but the standing knight at the last minute. An unfortunate engage there. Morn goes a little bit too far, ends up falling due to the bait coming out from Duckwings.
Yeah, and you know, just with the Scion, unless he like uses that ulti point blank, he doesn't really have a way to instantly interrupt that Shen ulti, and a really good bait from the side of Dystopia Reaper. Jumbo's not recognizing the fact that the Shen had that level 6.
Yeah, and honestly at that point, it might even just be better to let the teleport go through. I mean, if Morn already was dead, you might as well send the Shen over, at least try to give Justinian a bit of a free time in the laning phase, but instead, it's going to be Mooch picking up the first dragon of the game as the Cloud Drag will go over to Penn State to start this game off.
Yeah, and now we see the gold lead widening a little bit, you know, especially in that jungle and mid lane, you know, having the CS lead plus kill lead there, but it's still relatively even, so.
Justinian's got to be careful though, running low on mana, doesn't have the Unstoppable Onslaught mana available just yet. Now we'll have the ultimate. He just wants to get this wave in before trying to go for another reset, but he has been doing a good job, you know, having that 12 CS advantage. He's definitely in a good spot to keep continuing to scale, get to that later stage of the game where the Scion really packs a punch.
Yeah, I mean, this is a player who's like tried many different types of builds for the Scion. Don't really know which one he's going to go for this time, but whatever it is, like Ike said, they all like pack a pretty decent punch. So if he continues to scale, he'll be a very formidable tank later into this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of different builds that Argentina or Justinian has been really going for. We've seen things like the Gore Drinker, seen things like the Sunfire or like the Frostfire Gauntlet as well. Something that has been kind of rising in popularity is Stridebreaker Scion. Stridebreaker just being a really strong item. I don't know if we'll see it, especially considering the nerfs of Stridebreaker to the HP. So that's always something to look out for, but it looks like Justinian will be going more towards that tanky build, picking up that double Ruby.
Yeah, typically that double Ruby Crystal means it's gonna turn into that Bomby Cinder, but yeah, everything else seems pretty standard. We can see a little bit of a discrepancy the gold in that top lane, you know. Actually, sorry, no, the top lane is relatively even. I meant the jungle, you know. About 3,200 gold for the side of the Olaf, and only about 2,900 for the side of the Udyr. And well, not seem like a lot. Olaf's one of those champions that really can snowball those leads, so a lot to watch out for that.
And it looks like they're going to try to continue their pressure in onto Morn. A beautiful Q there coming out from Rooks to steal away the blue buff. Might be in a bit of trouble though, but the wall will prevent him from using the Blast Cone. Excellent usage of Anivia's kit coming out from Rooks, stealing the blue buff and preventing any sort of re-engage.
Yeah, I think it's just, like I said, one of those champions that's really good at, like, controlling the map, you know, using that wall to kind of disengage. It's very good against champions like the Udyr and the Scion, so just an intelligent pick overall.
Yeah, and it's a champion that Rooks is super comfortable on, so really like the way that they've been playing out this early game. It's yielded Penn State a 1k gold lead as we head into the 9-minute mark. Looks like Morn is trying to go a little bit aggressive here onto this bottom side, clearing out some vision, making sure that the Tufts bot lane can manage to crash this wave in eventually. Doesn't look like they will be able to though, as Mooch is as well here. Will be a little bit scary for them to try and go in.
Yeah, then there's more trading going in the top lane. It's definitely starting to get more favorable for the Scion, like as items start to come in more, you know, as he gets more stacks on his W, but it still should be like relatively Shen favored for the most part.
Aggressive engagement into the mid lane. Belisarius is here to try and join the party. The remove Scurvy has already been used by Dystopia Reaper, but with the wave crashing in, doesn't look like the Rakan will be able to do all too much there in this engage. Talking about this Gangplank just a little bit more, we see the Sheen and the Caulfields in inventory. Gangplank builds have definitely been something that a lot of people have been kind of kind of experimenting with as we see a bit of a trade in the bot lane. Korea has been going for more like things alongside things like the Triforce, Ravenous Hydra, more of a bruiser build, but here in the West Coast, in the Western Hemisphere at least, go for a little bit more crit here. It looks like Essence Reaver is going to come in as well as the Mortal Shield build.
Yeah, the Essence Reaver plus the Duskblade tends to like give a ton of like burst damage towards those squishy targets, and especially like being in the mid lane, you don't need as much of the bruiser-esque style, so definitely makes sense from this point of view.
Yeah, those barrels definitely will start to pack a punch here as we get towards these later stages, with the itemizations certainly starting to come in just a little bit. We see at the top side, Morn and Easy Life are kind of headed over to try and take down this Rift Herald. Shelly will more than likely go over to the Jumbos in just a couple of minutes, but alongside the top lane, Justinian is doing a really good job in terms of CS, having about a 13 CS lead, maintaining that. Was at about 20 just a couple of seconds ago with the wave crashing in just now, and it looks like he's going for the Sunfire Aegis. This is a little bit interesting because Sunfire did get a recent buff, allowing him to get a little bit more CDR and a little bit more damage. Seeing that instead of the Frostfire Gauntlet is something that we're probably going to see more and more. Now it looks like Morn is going to go aggressive here onto Ducklings. The Unstoppable Onslaught will be flashed away from. Ducklings has a lot of tankiness, a lot of sustainability here. The Cannon Barrage will try to prevent the Jumbos from continuing to push forward as well. It's going to be a failed gank in the top side, but on top of that, Dragon number 2 goes over to Penn State as well.
Yeah, it seems like Tufts is just going to try to play around the Sion, who's been playing relatively successful into that Shen, but they're just able to get the flash there, and the Shen was able to get away, help with the gangplank ulti, but maybe the Olaf caught out here. Shen ulti's coming down, and the TP from GP is there.
Now 4v3, make it a 4v4, 4v5 even, as Mr. Lazy is going to come in as well. Health bars are ticking low, but Moosh will be the first to fall there. Nice shutdown going over onto Jansu. Now it looks like the members of Penn State are a bit bundled up. Will be a bit scary to see if they can manage to get out of here. The charm will be ulted away from, coming out from Mr. Lazy, but it doesn't look like Penn State really is in the mood to disengage just yet. They're going to continue to try to stay in here. The decimating smash will hit onto Rooks, does have the egg available, so we'll have to be a little bit careful in terms of overextensions here. Rooks is pretty low, but it doesn't look like Penn State really wants to give up this vision hold. You're going to land a stun into Belisarius. Killer Instinct not available for Jansu, even if the Prey Seeker did hit. Just going to be one kill going over onto Mooch.
Yeah, that was a really good attempt from Justinian and Belisarius to, try to get another pick on the backside of that. But with Jansu so low and, Ahri without that ultimate, they were just able to chunk out that Nivea and back off. But Mort's coming back in the ball lane wanting to re-engage, but the TP is coming back from the Shen.
Ducklings will be here. They do land that stun onto Morn, going to force the flash out, but teleport for flash, not the worst trade, especially considering that the wave is in a good spot for Justinian, could potentially look to push forward.
Yeah, but if you notice, that means with Morn deciding to stay longer on that bot side, the Mooch Olaf is, going in to steal away that red buff.
Oh, but Ducklings is still here. Doesn't really want to give that up, and the flash forward from Mr. Lazy means that Jansu goes down. Didn't want to give up all of those plates and ended up staying a bit longer than their welcome. Easy Life now might be in trouble as well, as two members of Penn State go in onto the Ahri, and it looks like Mooch will be the one to finish off the final blow onto Easy Life. Makes it 2 straight kills coming off in the Nittany lines.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Penn State was able to make a ton of plays and, get that kill on the ADC and the mid laner. Good job using that Nivea burst damage. But, Sion just cracked that first tower and has about 25 CS lead for himself now.
Yeah, I mean, Ducklings is out of lane for such a long time in that whole engage, and Morn using that Rift Herald just in time, making sure that he got those plate gold over to Justinian as well, giving him a solid lead in the gold department in the top lane at least at around 1200. Around the rest of the map, not looking too good for the Jumbos, now sitting at a total around a 1.5k gold deficit, so definitely the early game is going well, and it might go even better here. Double stun landed here onto Jansu as Rooks continuing to be a nuisance here on this Anivia. Look at the zone control that they have over this pit. Belisarius cannot walk through into the bush to get back to the turret.
Yeah, this Anivia has just done so much work, stopping a lot of the engage potential from Jumbos, just kind of controlling, like you're saying, with that ultimate in the wall. But it looks like Tufts is no longer going for that like bottom lane win condition. They're just trying to have that Cyan carry, but maybe a bit of a trade in the bot lane.
Big chunk already onto Belisarius as well. And it looks like the Penn State bot lane is just continuously pushing into the Jumbo turret. And it's not looking like there's much that Jan and Belisarius can really do. Especially considering I feel like every time we look towards the bot lane, Mooch is always around there clearing any one of his camps. So definitely it looks like they have been playing more focused towards this bottom side. And it's been working out pretty well for them.
Yeah, it makes sense, you know, with that GP ultimate, Shen ultimate, and Olaf, you know. They have the ability to just like dive onto like Kai'Sa really well, you know, layer down those ultimates from far away, have the Olaf dive, but it may be Morn coming down to the ball lane to try to do something himself.
And the vision control for Penn State has been really good. It seems like every time Morn tries to go down here, help out his teammates, there's always a ward kind of catching him out in a bush somewhere. So might see a little bit of a re-engage here. The charm will land, but any sort of engage coming out from Easy Life is going to be pretty hard to follow up on, especially onto someone like Dystopia Reaper who has that orange here, going to try and get him out of any sort of crowd control that is available on the W. So will be kind of difficult, but so far things are kind of staying even. Tufts is doing a good job at trying to stay in this game. Are going to have to be a little bit concerned about that Mountain Dragon though, because you definitely don't want to give Soul over to Penn State really early.
Yeah, and if you look at those completed items from the side of Penn State, you know, the Gore Drinker, Estus Trooper already completed, and still no completed item yet for the Ari, so they definitely have a bit of an advantage when it comes to this Dragon fight.
Both teams are going to try to contest this. Mr. Lazy will be the one to pick up that Rift Scuttler, but the Scion Horn actually doesn't go through all too much. Might have hit a wall or something, but Justinian's still going to be a tanky member in the fight. Mr. Lazy's going to get a nice root onto some of the members of the Jumbos, and they're kind of bunched up here. Looks like a bit of a flank has kind of unfolded as Dystopia Reaper is going to try and cut off the rest of the Jumbos. Easy Life, though, is going to say, let's try to collapse onto this. They're going to get the Stand United in from Ducklings. The fight has begun. But the Dragons will start up on the other side. Easy Life is going to pick up a kill onto Gangplank. But now it looks like a huge knockup is going to come in onto the Anivia. Going to pop the egg. Mr. Lazy now in a bad position. Going to have to use the Feather Storm to stay alive. Huge chunk of damage coming out onto Morn, but the egg will certainly fall as well. Tufts has turned this game around, going 3-0. They're going to pick the strike as well.
Yeah, beautiful fight from the side of Tufts, you know. They were able to catch out the Dystopia Reaper on the bottom side of the map, you know, in that jungle, and that really forced the bot lane from the side of Penn State to try to, like, push in on the top. And so while they're able to, you know, get weather the fact that GP had the flash and Shen had the ulti and get those kills, they had two champions that don't really want to, you know, push forward into the Tufts comp, and they're able to, you know, play it really well. Nice flash from Gensu to like dodge out the damage from the blade call, I think it is, feather call, the E from Zaya, and they're able to get themselves a decent lead, pick up that dragon, and this game is becoming a lot closer.
And a brilliant decision that Tufts decided to make around that Dragon Pit, and it was a good setup from Penn State. You have this Gangplank Shen combo ready to ult into the fight along the backside, but Tufts just decides, hey, we're not going to really care about the Dragon because we're just going to go fight the Gangplank on their lonesome. And so when they went in onto Dystopia Reaper, sure, the Stand United was there, but they ended up bursting him down pretty quickly, and on the other side, didn't look like Penn State really had enough damage or enough burst control to take down the Dragon on the other side. So really good job by them, and they ended up winning the fight, getting the Dragon, and the League of Gold is now back to around 1,000.
Yeah, and you know, I think they don't really care too much about the goal discrepancy right now. Like 1,000 is normally, you know, not too much, but overall it's still like mostly on that Olaf versus the Udyr, and Udyr is still going to be relatively strong. His ability to like stick on people, be super fast, and while it is scary that the Olaf is strong, we saw there that if the Olaf has Ragnarok on and doesn't get those bonus armor and MR, he can't get burst down really easily, and it looks like they might try to catch him out here.
Doesn't look like all too much is going to go in here onto Mooch. Is going to go for that build of old on the Olaf, going for the Gore Drinker Sterex. We have seen some changes in itemization towards Olaf with the item nerfs, but is going to still go for that more bruisery build. But Belisarius is going to try to go in as well. The Stand United has been popped onto the bird, but the Evercross is there. There's the Unstoppable Onslaught as well. They're going to take down Anivia quickly, and now they're going to continue to push onto the fight. The Scion train will hit onto one. Justinian's going to pick up the first kill onto Mooch. Will fall. Does have the passive available, though. Will he be able to put anything back with Easy Life joining the fray? Morn's going to land a nice stun onto the Dystopia Reaper. Take it down the Pirate. They're going to knock up Mr. Lazy as well. Duckwings is trying to 1v3 in the middle of the fight. Will take down for Belisarius. But Featherstorm has been issued by Mr. Lazy. They're going to turn the fight around. It's going to be Morn versus Mr. Lazy. Who will win the fight? It's going to be the Bear. That's the double kill coming up from Morn. A delayed ace of Jumbos. They go 4 for 5 in the 4v5.
Yeah, and first of all, how disgusting is Udyr? What? How did he win that 1v1? I don't really know.
Balance.
Yeah, but anyway, just really good job from the side of Jumbos. You know, typically you don't really want to take those 4v5 fights, but they're able to find those picks so well. And that's a little bit of what I was talking about, like in Champ Select. If they're able to, you know, only have a couple people find those picks out in the jungle, they can have, while the rest of the team for Penn State tries to like scramble together to like make their comp work, they can decide to like bring more and more people in, and because they were able to layer CC so much on that Anivia, there was no one to protect from that Sion ulti coming down. And while it really was only the Olaf that got hit by that, Sion was able to get into the fight really easily. Anivia was just bursted down without the egg, and they were able to turn that 4v5 into a 4v4 or 4v3 really quickly. And while it did end up becoming really close to the end, because Mr. Lazy did a lot of work with those 2 items, it was Morn able to win that Slapfest in the end, and now the gold is favoring Jumbos by the slightest, but the gold is kind of where they want to be, and they're very strong looking towards this mid game.
Yeah, and at this point, the game state is essentially dead even. One more tower pickup to even it up for Penn State would yield them in a tie for the gold lead, but that's a kill going over as well. Beautiful combo from the Tufts bottom lane. The question is, can they get out safely? The answer is no. They're going to trade the bot laners back and forth as Mooch will pick up yet another kill, and that's just going to be another 1-for-1. Dragon spawning in less than a minute.
Yeah, and Nivea just a really good job catching out Jansu, not giving him a chance to even use that ultimate to get away. So much crowd control from the side of the Nivea, but really good pick from the side of Jumbos, you know, finding out Mr. Lazy. He's layering the CC plus the Gale Force damage to, you know, finish him off, but this Dragon is spawning relatively soon, so we're going to see how both teams react to try to fight for it.
And Adi, we've been talking about the power that Rooks' Anivia has been bringing in terms of pressure and stuff. I feel like we haven't given his opponent enough credit. Belisarius here on the Rakan, sitting at 1, 2, and 10, has a 2-level lead over his opposing support, has been making so many plays all over the map, was super impactful in the last 2 team fights that we've had, and he's going to be super important to try and continue to play around at this next Dragon.
For sure, he's really just been like a menace for the side of Penn State. You know, so much crowd control coming down from this Rakan, you know, really deciding these fights. And like I said, we haven't been giving him too much credit, but nonetheless, he has been very strong.
Dragon being bursted down really quickly. The wall going to zone off the Morn, and it's going to be secured by Penn State. But can they win the fight? Featherstorm popped early. That's the egg available once again, but Justinian's already taken down the Penn State 80 carry. Jansu's going to get bursted down in melee range. It's going to be a 2-for-2 so far. Dystopia Reaper goes down, and Mooch is getting taken down by the zombie passive. Duckwings is going to be forced to taunt out safely. A triple kill coming over to Easy Life. They're going to continue to try and finish off the ace. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to do it, but a nice fight, 4-for-2. That's another team fight win going over to the Jumbos.
Yeah, and just talking about Belisarius coming over the wall with Justinian, you know, forcing them to like try to come to them with that CC, and they just left Anivia out to dry. Anivia was caught over by the wall. They were able to easily burst down Anivia. So much AoE crowd control and damage coming down from that Scion that they're just able to scrap together a victory after that. And again, credit to Penn State. They were able to get a decent amount of damage down on the back half of that fight, but you know, there's so many picks taken so early, and while able to secure the Dragon, it's another team fight victory for Jumbos, and they already had the mid lane pushed in, like, before they rotated for that Dragon, which means that, like, they're just able to get so much off that, and that's about a 2.5k goal lead, a little more than that, actually, for the side of Jumbos.
7 kills now onto Easy Life's Ahri. Has the Essence Reaver, the Everfrost Cosmic Drive on this Ahri. No crit available for the mid laner, but with the 7 kills, has a 300 goal shutdown, has been super impactful in a lot of the Jumbo fights as well. Gonna be one of the main carries in terms of damage, with him doing so well so far.
Yeah, and we talked about like a little bit of a shift in playstyle from Easy Life. You know, this team deciding to put him more on those carry picks, and excuse me, they're gonna have to fight in the top lane really quickly, try to pick him out. I'll finish after that.
Gangplank is pretty slippery. There's the Stand United coming in. Mooch is going to join the party. He's going to turn quickly into a 3v4. They're going to taunt up more. Duckwing's going aggressive. It looks like the Udyr will go down, but the rest of the Jumbo team is here, other than Justinian, who is still pushing down on that bottom side, going to prevent any more kills from going over to Penn State. Bit of an over-aggressive play. That's something that we've been talking about a little bit. The ability for Penn State to collapse with the Stand United can turn the fight numbers around really quickly, and that just ends up with another kill going down onto Morn.
Yeah, I think Jumbo's just really overestimating their ability to kill that GB fast, and while he only has like squishy items, he's super slippery like you were saying, so...
Oh, sorry, it's going aggressive. Brooks doesn't have the egg just yet, but the Rakan is taken down pretty low. They're fighting a 3v2, and they were the ones who chose to go in there. Belisarius with another death going to get picked up for himself. The 4 members still in the top side, though, for the Penn State Nittany Lions, and that means that a lot of prio is given over to these other lanes for the Jumbos. They're going to give up one turret, but they're going to get a lot of pressure down the other lanes.
Yeah, this is just the Jumbos trying to go for picks when Penn State is clumped up. I mean, sure, the GP was by himself for a little bit, but they were able to collapse on him so fast using the Shen ulti, the Olaf just running down, and they're going to try to find him once again.
Yeah, they're going to keep going. They're going to stun up Dystopia Reaper. It's not deja vu. We've seen this before, and it's a different outcome this time. No Stand United available means that the Gangplank will finally go down as Jansu gets a kill onto the Pirate.
Yeah, but just like what I was saying about Easy Life before, you know, they started to shift him more towards the like carry champions that he's recovered in. I think that's like been going off really well because you know, this last like before that, like the 2 fights before that, Easy Life was the main carry, the main damage output. I mean, for the first one, Jansu wasn't even there. Osiris is diving in the backline.
Yeah, fighting the Baron Pit, and Rooks is taken down instantly. The Gore Drinker will buy some time. Stand United has been put back up. The Ducklings will be joining the fight, but actually gets the teleport canceled by the stun coming out from the back side of the fight. One more kill going over to the Jumbos. They're going to come right back to where they started, try to take down the big purple worm. Easy Life is going aggressive onto Mr. Lazy. The feathers will do a decent chunk of damage. 2 items Zaya, definitely nothing to be worried about here. There comes the Feather Storm. Look at the damage coming out on Jansu though. Dystopia doing so much with the crits, with the barrels. They're going to jump down Jansu again. So much work there for Dystopia Reaper. The barrels doing wonders there in that team fight. Going to push Tufts off the Baron.
Yeah, that GP just doing so much, just keeping into the middle of the team while weaving around, getting those barrels down, and forcing Tufts to come off that Baron. But the Dragon is respawning. Tufts is a reset, and they're all running towards that.
Yeah, they're going to have to shift their attention now because it's Soul Point coming out from Penn State. If they give up this Mountain Soul on champions like Shen, like Olaf, even like Gangplank, it's going to be super hard for them to continue to win these fights, even on some of the carries. You know, Tufts is a team that has been built around these pick potentials, and getting that extra shield definitely is not something to simply scoff upon. So the Dragon has spawned here. It looks like Tufts has gotten the upper edge of the fight. Easy Life is going to get zoned off by the wall, but the Dragon has spawned. 5 members of the Jumbos are here. It looks like Mr. Lazy is on his way after picking up a red buff for himself, and it looks like Belisarius is going around the backside. No champion wants to start this breakup just yet.
Yeah, I think both teams are really afraid about, you know, what could happen on the backside of this fight. Regardless of Soul or not, there's still a Baron that's up, so both teams, you know, recognize this is an important objective, but also recognizing that they can't be too aggressive.
600 damage barrels coming out from Dystopia Reaper, even onto the front line. Decimating Smash won't hit onto anybody just yet. Look at Belisarius though. He's doing a great job standing behind enemy lines. The knockup will hit on to Dystopia Reaper. Justinian is stuck between 5 members, but Tufts is going on to the Dragon. They're going to taunt up Easy Life, but Morn will secure the Dragon to delay the soul. Here comes Belisarius coming out from the backside. They're going to charm up 3. Jansu's jumping in with the Killer Instinct, going to win the 1v1 80 carry duel. Not going to get out safely from the hands of Mooch, but the fight's being won by Tufts on the other side. Justinian's going to crack the egg, take down Rooks. Another team fight going in favor, actually, of Penn State. Oh, no, sorry. In favor of Tufts, going 2 for 1. They also get the Dragon, and they're just going to continue to try and exert as much pressure as they can with this numbers advantage.
Yeah, good job from Jumbo. It's another scrappy fight, but Jansu able to one-shot Mr. Lazy before Mr. Lazy even able to use that ulti, and forced so many people to go up to the top side, and Justinian, just a monster on that Scion, you know, finishing up that kill on Anivia. We didn't get to see too much of how Anivia was able to fall, but when Anivia's in the egg, Scion can definitely crack it very easily.
And Tufts is playing these fights on like almost on multiple fronts, it seems like. They have a couple of people going into the back line, a couple of people playing on towards the front line, and it somehow seems to be working for them every time. They have a really good combination, especially due to a bunch of the mobility that they have, the ultimates on their bottom side, of knowing when to dive and knowing when to just try to play front to back. And they've been the ones who have been winning in these late game scenarios here, up about 3,000 gold now.
Yeah, I feel like they're just like been playing around like the difference in the composition really well. You know, forcing a comp that doesn't really want to like have their backline dive too much. You know, with that Nivea and Zaya, like forcing them to be in situations they don't want to be in. You know, not going too aggressive. Only like diving in when they can like have some flank from the back, have some recon that can like disrupt the front to back game plan that Penn State wants to play, and just getting themselves incremental advantages.
Serpent's Fang now picked up for Dystopia Reaper. This is an item that we haven't really seen too much in terms of priority, but given the champions that are on the Jumbo side, you got the Jansu Killer Instinct, you got Justinian with the Soul Furnace even. Lots of shields potentially on the table for a lot of these players. Picking up this early Serpent's Fang, I really do like this choice, especially considering Gangplank is a champion with a bit of an accelerated income with the Silver Serpent. So we'll see if the shield breaking really does provide any income.
Yeah, I think regardless of the shield breaking too much, you know, it's just been an item that's so strong recently. Like, obviously there are a lot of strong shield champions in the meta right now, but just like, it's such a relatively efficient item with the stats it provides and how cheap it is.
Big crit coming out onto Belisari. Says they're going to get pushed off the Baron once more. Looks like the Cannon Barrage did a good job of zoning the Jumbos off again, but Justinian's going to continue just pushing here into this bottom lane inhibitor turret. Knows that he can get into the fight with the teleport whenever he needs to, and looks like they're just going to continue to push back onto the board. Tufts is maintaining this macro play as much as possible, and they're going to just continue to go.
Yeah, I mean, like, it seems like Justinian's able to, like, push in, so the more they try to do this dance around Baron, the more tower damage they get down on the bot lane.
Yeah, and there's no help really from Duckwings to really go in here. Now with Belisari, it's chunked out pretty low. Going to be pretty difficult for the Jumbos to continue to go in onto the Baron. They're going to try and peel off for now, go for a bit of a reset, pick up some extra gold, get some wards back in their inventories, and for now the Baron dance will be stalled out just a little bit. Going to go for a bit of intermission here as Jansu and Easy Life have maintained control over this mid lane.
Yeah, and with that dragon coming up in just under a minute and a half, both teams are going to have to recognize that this is, again, another important objective for them to fight around.
32 minutes into this game. This is still anybody's game for the taking here in this best of 3. Both of these teams definitely want to start this best of 3 elimination series off with a win. So this game 1 will definitely be crucial in terms of setting momentum and getting the series off on the right note. We once again have the dragon spawning in less than 60 seconds, and it's still Soul Point on the side of Penn State. They're still going to force Tufts to go into the dragon pit and potentially try and get that soul for themselves.
Yeah, and like I say, almost every time I feel like anyone who watches Doublet's co-casting, or co-stream, recognize like how important having Dragon Soul is. We've seen Jumbos come every single time to that Dragon Pit to try to contest it, and Penn State knows, because if that Dragon Soul goes to their hands, Jumbos will be very hard.
Here, rush in. They're going to land the charm, force the Ragnarok out early. Here comes the ultimate coming through. Cannon Barrage doing a decent amount of damage onto Jansu in the back line. Gonna go straight into Dystopia Reaper's arms. A huge barrel is gonna take down the 80 carry, and that's a double kill going over to the Gangplank. They're gonna continue to push in onto the Jumbo lineup. Mr. Lazy raining the feathers in onto Justinian, and the Emperor will soonly fall. That's gonna be a big fight going over to Penn State with the Dragon Soul spawning.
Yeah, and what was I talking about? The fact that
Horn. He's running. Gonna flash in. Not gonna get the dragon. He's gonna die. Baron probably gonna go over as well.
And with more than 48 seconds on his death timer, it looks like Penn State's gonna run towards that Baron, and with a Dragon Soul, they may have tipped the scales in their favor. Like I was saying, Jumbos are playing so well around not playing into the type of fight that Penn State wants. Not diving in too deep, playing into the Nivea ultis and Zaya ultis, and while they were able to dodge out the Nivea and Zaya ulti, maybe get those cooldowns down, they didn't realize that Dystopia Reaper was in the backline, and just the barrel one-shot the ADC, and just from there the fight was destroyed.
Yeah, and that was kind of what I feel like Penn State was really trying to do in that first Dragon fight that Tufts ended up winning when they ended up collapsing onto Dystopia Reaper. The only difference here is now this Gangplank has gotten to his late game form. Nearly at full build, has 4.5 items already completed for himself, nearing in on 60% critical strike chance on the barrels. Going to be doing close to 1,000 damage on each proc combined with the Essence Reaver. Going to be super scary and a lot more scary than he was in those early fights.
For sure, and deciding to go for that stopwatch instead of that third crit item, probably smart. He already has a ton of damage and really just needs to, stay alive and keep out that DPS.
Heading into 35 minutes, Baron has been picked up by Penn State as well. They're going to have the buff for the next couple of minutes, and adding on to that, the Dragon Soul on top of Penn State will add at least a couple thousand gold in terms of raw stats going over this team. The engage is coming in. Mr. Lazy is going to get taunted up, has the cleanse to get out safely. And now with the Stand United coming in, Duckwings is going to force a flash out of Easy Life. The Cannon Barrage is going to chunk them out as well. And a failed engage coming out from Tufts there. They're going to allow Penn State to push down into the inhibitor turret.
Yeah, and I mean, you think that that's fine, getting the cleanse, getting the Shen ulti, but they're able to do so much off the the reset or the disengage from Jumbos that they're able to take 2 more towers than the inhibitor.
And Justinian was in the top side of the map that whole time. Just ended up completing that recall, and now it just allows Penn State to pick up an inhibitor for themselves. So Justinian might actually get caught out here in a bit of a 1v5. The tower's not going to mean all too much when you got 5 members strong on the Nittany Lions. Justinian is tanky, but he's tanky enough. Not going to buy enough time. Mooch will pick up his 7th kill of the game. The question is, can Tufts decide to respond to this play? It's going to be really difficult considering a lot of the shields are still on the Jumbos. Those lay the Prey Seeker, and Mr. Lazy is going to get engaged on by Jansu. Going to get taunted up. The stopwatch is going to buy the time to keep the Xayah alive. The fight is continuing to happen. Easy Life is getting zoned out so well by the wall, and Jansu's stuck in a 1v2. Duckwings will surely take him down any minute now with the taunt coming off cooldown in just a little bit. Mr. Lazy will take it down Jansu, and that is another 2 for 0 going over to Penn State. Make it 3. There's the Cannon Barrage with Death's Daughter coming in to take down Morn as well.
It looks like they're just trying to go for some desperation plays, trying to dive onto that low Xayah, but Featherstorm's still up, and there's enough tools to peel off the Kaisa, and they're able to just get even more off that. And well, I agree that there's not really much they can do there. It was not the best attempt, knowing that there were still so many cooldowns up for side of Penn State.
It's a 3v5 the next 20 seconds. Justinian has respawn, does have the Unstoppable Onslaught available. They are going to chunk out Duckwings, but he does have the teleport available. The Nexus is open. They're continuing to hit onto it. Ignore the champions because you can win the game, my friend. That is game 1 going over to Penn State.
And what an intense game. I feel like it was on a nice edge for almost the entire game until that, cracking point where they were able to, the Penn State was really make their competition come online, do exactly what they want to do, peel that Xayah, use their tools to try to make space and get that GP to get on the backline and one-shot the Kaisa. And once that happened, the game was really theirs for the taking.
Yeah, and a great job coming out from Penn State. They executed the early game well and were able to push it towards a win for themselves. It looked like Tufts did have a good comeback towards that middle game, but as the champions started to scale up, things like Dystopia Reaper's Gangplank, Mr. Lazy Xayah even continue to get those items. Dystopia Reaper ended up with the most kills in the game, sitting at 8, 5, and 5, having so much gold, so much crit, and so much damage, was able to really do wonders onto the Jumbo team composition.
Yeah, but it's sometimes hard to forget or hard to remember after games like that. That was only game 1. We still have at least one more game left in this match, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game number 2.
Welcome back. Game 2 between Tufts and Penn State is underway. Audie, after a nice early game get turned into a Penn State Game 1 victory, Tufts now on blue side, going to have to try and turn this around. The bans are already underway. We're going to see what Tufts picks up first.
And I think a lot of respect from Jumbo's taking away that GP and the Shen. Just did so much work in that last game. Just stymieing a lot of the early aggression from the Jumbos. Having that Shen ulti plus the GP ulti, and then just like the scaling into the late game. But they're deciding to first pick that Senna.
Yeah, and now with Penn State deciding to take away the Hecarim instead of the Senna, it's going to be Belisarius, one of the best Sennas in North America. Going to be pulling out that pick. It's going to be super exciting to see that one. Also could be a flex towards Jansu as well. Definitely somebody who really plays that. We'll see if they elect to go for more of a fasting Senna, more of a farming Senna. It's going to be Udyr locked in on the side of Penn State as well. As going to another tanky jungler going to be picked up here. As Karthus is also left unbanned, so that's also going to go over, most likely actually, into the mid lane, going over to Dystopia Reaper.
Yeah, I think like with the Ginzu nerfs to Senna so that she can't like infinitely stack crit, it's been a lot less favored as an actual ADC, but can definitely still be going over to the to Jansu. Obviously the Seraphine is not there anymore, so we can't see the Seraphine Senna, but good. Seraphine, that I did not like that. I mean, obviously I like that as like a Jumbo's commentator because it led to a Jumbo's win, but just like
Boring.
Philosophically, I did not like that. No.
Well, Morn gonna get on to another comfort pick of his. Gonna trade the Udyr for the Lilia. Gonna be sending the deer into the trees to try and match up against Mooch in jungle as well. We'll see what Tufts decides to round out their first rotation with. Wouldn't be surprised to see the bot lane being rounded out here in the next couple of seconds, but instead, gonna be Easy Life's Annie gonna be matching up against Karthus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know why we bother calling it comfort pick anymore. I mean, it's like Lilia, Olaf, Trundle, Elise, Kha'Zix. There's so many different picks that like Morn is like relatively comfortable. Yeah, everything's a comfort pick. But yeah, it's definitely. I think it's like a pretty decent into Udyr. Has the ability to like match a lot of the movement speed. But we have Karthus Kai'Sa taken away from Penn State. A little bit of a different direction than they went that first game.
Yeah, it looks like once again just a little bit of a different playstyle that Penn State wants to bring out here in this draft. Karthus is definitely a champion that really likes kind of sitting back, kind of similar to Gangplank, but adding that Kai'Sa alongside the Udyr, both champions that like kind of going in onto the back line. We'll be interested to see how the rest of the draft plays out for Penn State, because it worked pretty well for them in the last game. We're going to see Sion taken away in the second ban phase here, making sure that Justinian doesn't get a hand on the Undead Juggernaut again.
Yeah, and Andrew, I know Philios has been nerfed a bit, but that is a champion we've seen Jansu really like to pick, especially into that Kai'Sa, just like putting down those turrets, putting on the ability to, kite back and stymie a lot of the diving aggression. It's definitely been a favorite pick from him, but still not really sure what he's going to pick. Definitely bot lane meta is a lot more open than it used to be, so it's not just Kai'Sa, Philios every game, so we'll see.
Yeah. One of Jan's more comfortable picks here does have a bit of a different range of options as well. Going maybe something towards Zaya, even in Samira could be something that would be interesting. Don't know how well it kind of works out with the Senna. We will get you a word on what that ban is. It is going to be Tom Kench, so they don't want to see that signature Senna TK lane coming out here from Jan and Belisarius as they round out the first ban, with Fiora being taken away from Tufts as well, sending a little bit more respect to Duckling's way.
Yeah, and the Nivea is also taken away. Makes sense. I also did a lot of work, stymieing those aggression, just controlling the map with the ulti and the wall, and overall pretty decent pick. But we have Maokai coming in from Penn State, and that's again one of those like kind of flex picks. Both top and support were something they needed to pick for. So unless it's like a card support, meaning that this Maokai can go in either lane. But we just have the Leona coming in from Tufts, just a comfort pick again for Belisarius. He's played that a lot more in the beginning of the season, but nonetheless, just really strong champion, a lot of crowd control, decent amount of damage, and can help make a lot of plays through this early to mid game, even into like just lots of plays.
And unless we're seeing something insanely crazy, it's going to be a farming center here in the bottom lane. Camille going to be the final pick, rounding out the team composition for the Jumbos. And they have a lot, once again, a pretty well-rounded team comp. A lot of these champions kind of play in different ways. with Lilia going in for the sleep and engage or disengage. Annie, even Leona or Camille going can kind of work pretty flexibly alongside the Senna. So we'll be interested to see how they pull this out here. And once again, Adi, that Maokai is still a flex. We really don't know what Penn State's going to pick up here. It is going to be the Ornn, I think, going over to Ducklings, meaning that Rooks will be playing this Maokai towards that bottom side.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually like the Maokai into Senna too much, just because like a lot of I feel like the Maokai lane is like around, you know, putting those slaplings down and getting a lot of chip damage before you get the engage, but there's still a lot of CC, you know, W and Q applying 2 plasma stacks for the Kai'Sa. They have the ability to go for those all-ins, but, you know, I still kind of like the lane a little more from Jumbo's.
Yep, and that's going to be the rounded out team comps for both of these teams. Once again, a huge front line on Penn State. We saw how impactful that was in the last game with the champions that they pulled out in the top side with things like the Shen, and as well as that Olaf coming out on just so much frontline potential. And they're kind of doubling down on this, going for the Ornn, Udyr, and Maokai. Going to try and just keep their backline members alive, because if Karthus and Kai'Sa remain untouched in these team fights, the fight will certainly go Penn State's way.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like very interesting comps. A little different than last time. A lot more dive from the side of Penn State. Like I said, really strong with a lot of CC, but I think it's not really like, I don't think it matches really well into the Jumbo's playstyle. The Jumbos are the kind of comp that like likes to dive in, which is why I really liked the comp from Penn State game 1. But you know, I still think it's a relatively strong comp. However, I feel like now we're getting to more of the territory where the Jumbos are used to. And I mean, obviously, I'm coming at this from like the perspective of a Jumbo's caster. Obviously, Penn State might also have a lot of experience and a lot of favoritism towards this type of playstyle. But based on what I've seen, I think Jumbo is trying to play this a little more.
Yeah, and as we just lock in the champions here on the client draft, we'll make sure that the champions are going towards their correct positions. It will be a Karthus going over to the mid lane. A Duckwing is going to be grabbing that Ornn, which infers that Rooks will be taking that Maokai towards the bottom lane. Nothing too unusual on the Jumbo side either.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that we actually did get the lane assignment right this time. No last minute, I don't know, Udyr supports or anything coming through, but no, basically looking at the champ select, it does seem pretty standard, kind of what we expected for lane assignments, and you know, should be a very interesting game.
Yeah, certainly will be an interesting game. Game 2, this is do or die for Tufts. We've been seeing a lot of, you know, collegiate elimination matches going on over the past couple of days with March Madness. Certainly some maddening games about to go underway for the Jumbos. If they lose this game, their season is over. And so they want to definitely make sure they want to try and keep this game alive, bring us to that deciding game 3, pull out the Silver Scrapes to try and send us into the next round.
Yeah, I mean, not really Silver Scrapes, but you know, it's Silver Scrapes. Game 3, you know, it's still exciting. It's still exciting.
The
decider. Yeah. Definitely. Really excited for this one, but yeah, like I said, we're going to spectator delay, so don't go anywhere. In about 5 minutes, we'll be back with game number 2.
back, everybody. We're here for game number 2 of the CSL playoffs. It is win or go home for the Tufts University Jumbos going on the blue side against the Penn State JV Nittany Lions. Adi, after this intense Champ Select, intense first game, it's going to be a bit of an exciting early game, I have to say the least, considering the champions that they have.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is definitely gonna be less, it'll be a little bit easier to try to dive in the mid lane. Card is not too mobile, but with the exhaust and the passive, it's still a little risky. And there is no Shen ulti or anything, but again, the exhaust plus Card's passive may make more and try to target this mid lane a little less.
A nicely timed trinket coming out from Mr. Lazy will prevent any sort of invade coming out from the Jumbos to start this game off. Doing a good job of getting some vision out there. Are going to catch out Mooch though. Not going to have too much speed coming out just yet. The hookshot's going to get flashed away from, but Justinian's going to still go in. Does now have to try and face down Duck Wings. Stun will be available for Easy Life in just a couple of seconds with the Incinerate if he can try and get towards him. But Justinian still going to remain calm and collected as he might have caught out Duckwing. Does have the flash skill available. They're going to hit him with the hook shot, going to stun him up with the W. Going to force another summoner spell out, but they're going to continue to go in. The blooming blows are there, and Morgan's going to pick up first blood. Early kills going over to Tufts to start game 2 off on the right note.
Yeah, good job from Justinian, you know, getting both of those flashes, and Easy Life actually going for a little bit something cheeky, you know, taking that W level 1 in order to charge up for that stun, you know, help secure that kill. And Rooks is staying up in that top lane and try to, you know, help out the jungler, but on the bot side, they get the flash from Kaisa because of that.
Morn's in a bit of a precarious situation, to say the least. They're going to pop the Ignite onto Rooks. The support's still topside, though. That means that Tufts will certainly get the early push down bottom, especially with blowing that summoner spell out of Mr. Lazy. Going to be super impactful for some of these early game fights, as now this Maokai is going to be forced to back and walk back to lane. So going to be a 2v1 down bottom for a little bit, especially with that flash.
Yeah, sacking a bit of the jungle in order to, or sacking a little bit of the bot lane to try to help the jungle out. Definitely a trade that Tufts is willing to make, especially because there already is that first blood on the Lilia.
Yeah, and Morn picking up that early kill will be super crucial. Obviously, Lily as a champion that accelerates pretty well with items. You like to see her rushing legendary sometimes instead of going for the early Leandries, going for things like the Banshees or the Zanyas early on. And so just seeing her get a little bit of an extra kill means that Morn will be even more accelerated on his build path. So it will be super interesting to see here. Justinian's going to land a tactical sweep, going to land a hook shot. No flash on Duckwing. Going to get a nice chunk of damage out, especially with that grasp sitting here on to this Camille as well.
Yeah, and although Justinian doesn't have that teleport, still has that flash, meaning that he's able to play super aggressive and force Duckwings further back, forcing Duckwings to play a lot more safe. But looks like Dystopia Reaper is going to go for a kill in the mid lane.
Has the Q pops, not going to get the final killing blow, and now Morn is here as well. No flash available on the Lilia. Going to pop a Dark Harvest stack. The Eve has not come through, but the Blooming Blows will. 2 straight kills going over to Morn.
Yeah, Dystopia Reaper decided not to blow the flash there, but you know, understanding that there's still the slow on him, and Lilia might still get the kill. So just dying into Lilia. 2-0 start from Morn. You know, like we're saying, every champion's a comfort champion, but Lilia especially. And although he is sacking a bit of his bot side farm, as this Udyr is ahead on farm and running towards that bot side jungle, the counter jungle.
Yeah, it looks like as a result, it will be a bit of a 3 buff coming out from Mooch. Justinian's playing aggressive because he knows that Morn is here to help in case Duckwings decides to go super aggressive. Not running the unsealed spellbook means that no secret cheeky ignites will be available for the Ornn in some of these 1v1 situations. So it doesn't look like that's too much of a concern here. It's going to be a back early for Justinian, pick up an extra longsword, get a couple of potions to chug along the way, and then it'll be back on his merry way towards the top. So.
Yeah, and Duckwings had used that teleport advantage in order to get back into the lane, you know, and not be bullied out so much, but you know, he was pushed back under tower again, and Justin's able to take a relatively good recall as Belisarius dives into the bottom lane.
Yeah, Mr. Lazy was way out of position there. The Twisted Advance will try and stall out Jansu, but Belisarius is charging down. The final pop from Jansu will make it a 3-0 kill lead for the Jumbos, and they're going to look for more. Remember that Rooks was kind of stalling out early, but he's actually going to come in with the Q to take down Jansu. Can Belisarius finish off the kill? The Zenith Blade will not be issued under the tower, and it's just going to be a 1-for-1.
Yeah, it's really good job from the side of the Jumbos, recognizing that Mr. Lazy didn't have that flash. Cleanse was blown, still cleanse, but they had enough, CC to stay on top of the Kaisa and able to, get a 1-for-1. And although Jansu does end up dying, and this wave does get to be picked up by Mr. Lazy, that kill was on. Jansu was the one who was able to pick up the kill, and Mr. Lazy able to get nothing from the return.
Yeah, but overall, not the worst thing, especially considering where the wave was. It forced Belisarius to crash the wave himself into the tower to prevent any freeze from unfolding. So Mr. Lazy gonna get a huge CS advantage here with that wave crashing into this perfect time. It means that Jansu will be a bit behind on CS despite him picking up the kill. So it's a bit of a trade-off here, but still 3 kills to 1. Much better early game so far for the Jumbos. They're up 1,000 gold, but it's still gonna be Penn State with the bot lane jungle dominance here, gonna pick up their first dragon of the game.
Yeah, this is something we see out of Jumbos a lot, favoring that top side a little more, sacking in bottom lane a little more, giving up a couple early dragons, but, Lilia's getting some leads in the top, focusing on those solo lanes, and hopefully it should be enough to carry them through, but Penn State, they're just going to keep taking these objectives and try to force more soul fights later in the game.
All the kills have been kind of detrimental for Morn, honestly, if you can even say that, just because he's sitting at a level disadvantage already. Easy Life has the Tibbers though, gonna go and land a nice Incinerate onto 2. Tibbers will try to chase down Mooch, but now they gotta be wary of Dystopia Reaper. He's gonna try to go into a 1v3, but even with him falling, still gonna be able to try and push out some damage here. Someone call Mozart, because the Requiem is here, not gonna take down Easy Life, but Rooks gets here onto the back line as well as Mr. Lazy. Gonna use the Killer Instinct in, gonna get stunned up by Easy Life though. The flash forward won't take him down. Easy Life picks up the kill and saves his life. 2 straight kills going over the Jumbos. Meanwhile, on the top side, it's going to be the Hextech Ultimatum used to cancel the Ornn ulti. The Ornn Horn will do nothing. The flash forward was a little too late from Justinian. The minions, are they going to take him down? They don't. Surviving barely under 25 HP. Justinian survives the 1v1 with 2 straight kills going over to Tufts.
So many such close fights all across the map, and Morn is here to clean up once again. Try to take out the flashless Ornn.
There he goes. Now Morn sitting at 4-0-1. You don't need camps if you can farm the champions. Not going to be able to farm this one though. Mooch going to try and chase him down. Bear slap right before the sleep means that he will get a nice little shutdown onto the deer.
Yeah, nice job from Mooch to punish the Lilia for overstaying a little too long, but just across the map, so many really close fights, Looks like the timing was just perfect for the Jumbos all across the map. The Yona Q, the Camille ulti just barely win those skirmishes, and with that, we have about a 1k goal lead for the side of Jumbos.
Doing a great job here in this early game, accelerating Morn really hard here in this game 1. Wasn't able to do all too much on the Udyr, it seemed like, in the last game. So now sitting here with that 4 kills in the bank for him, hopefully going to provide a lot more impact, a lot more damage in these later fights. As we said before, most likely rushing towards that Zanya's Hourglass. Now has that Phoenix Codex and the stopwatch in inventory. But Jan's going to be in trouble. He's going to get caught out by the Twisted Advance. Has the Ignite ticking, but the Black Mist will try and stall out the members of Penn State. Mr. Lazy doesn't have the Killer Instinct just yet, but it's about to come off a cooldown. Gotta be really careful to not get hit. The heal was used, and the Piercing Light from downtown will take down 2. That's Jansu, and Belisari is picking up a double kill.
Yeah, again, really close fight. I really like the attempt from our Rooks. It looks like he went for that W a little too early. If he just waited for that auto attack from Sen to go through, that would have been tower aggro. And I really like the attempt because, if you get able to lock him down under tower, it's a free kill, but he's barely not able to. And Jansu and Belisari are able to kite back. And Easy Life, really good job getting another pick in the mid lane, coming back to lane.
Yeah, the Dawning Shadow helped out as well. Helped a kill go over to Easy Life once again as Dystopia Reaper falls for the 3rd time this game. Might be a comfort pick for him, but not getting super that much of an impact, on this Karthus in the early game. Obviously, Karthus will scale a lot as we get towards these later stages of the game, but unlike this Gangplank that he had in game 1, not really staying as even as you would like him to.
Yeah, for sure. Although he has an exhaust, he's been targeted so many times in the mid lane. There's so much pick potential with the Lilia and the Annie, and the Leona came a couple times as well. It's just not a good day for this Karthus in the mid lane.
Yeah, and even now in the jungle, Morn has regained some of his footing, evened out the CS count just a little bit. You know, now that you have these 4 kills, you're able to have more of an advantage. Flash and Blade coming forward from Belisarius, so they're going to go aggressive here onto Mr. Lazy, going to dash out safely with the Killer Instinct. Got to be careful of the re-engage, so the Requiem's going to chunk out a decent amount of health from the Jumbos. Gotta be careful. Lilting Ololai is available for Morn. Is gonna land the Blooming Blows onto Mooch as well. Not any re-engage though. It's an aggressive play from Belisarius, but the stoppage from the global ultimates of Penn State will make sure that the bot lane stays alive.
Yeah, and it seems like that W from the Senna was just so close. It was like 0.1 seconds away from hitting before Mr. Lazy was able to get that Killer Instinct off, and so there's gonna be more trading out from the top lane.
It's really difficult for Justinian to win these extended trades now that the Bramble Vest has been picked up. For Duckwing's gonna land the Call of the Forge of God. Hextech Ultimatum still available, but that's another Brittle Block available. Justinian might get taken down here by the Ornn. Hookshot not available just yet. The Searing Charge will seal the deal as Duckwing picks the solo kill on the top side.
Yeah, not a lot of respect from Justinian for the Bramble plus the Bomby Cinder completed, and Ornn just has so much raw damage that if he gets pretty tanky, he can win that 1v1 if Camille's not far enough ahead.
Yeah, and now at a 4v5 the next 10 seconds, the eyes are now once again set on the Dragon. Duckwing does have the teleport to use in case any sort of engage comes up. Justinian does not. So Duckwing's gonna get a nice brittle proc onto the turret as well. Gonna make sure that they keep the pressure going in the top side. Mooch is going aggressive here. Belisarius can already force to proc that solar flare. Mr. Lazy did land the Prey Seeker onto one. Not gonna use the Killer Instinct to follow up as it is not available just yet. Duckwings has joined the fray and the turret the Dragon is now under fire. Can Tufts respond here? Justinian has joined the fight, but the Dragon's gonna get picked up by the Udyr. Now here comes the fight. Big sleep coming out from Morn. They're gonna take down Rooks first, and they're gonna take it down Mr. Lazy second. The Dystopia is also gonna get wiped down. The Requiem is still available, can be used at any minute, but it's not gonna matter. Double kill coming over to Morn as well. It's a 4-for-0 going over to Tufts.
Yeah, I mean, the Jumbos are just like Dragon who. They just wanted to dive onto that backline, and while the Leona E just like went right past the Kaisa, threw the Kaisa into the Maokai, they're still able to burst both of those members down, and so much crowd control, so much burst damage, and this gold lead is now 3.5k.
Tufts will not go into the night without a fight here in this game too, trying to stay alive in the CSL playoffs and having a perfect early game to start this one. Not perfect, you know, you did get solo killed in the top side, but almost playing this team composition that they wanted to perfection. This is a comp that I think works really well while you're ahead. You'll be able to snowball a lot of these leads with the engage potential that they have, pick potential onto some of the main carries here, especially since the main damage dealers for Penn State are both 0 and 4.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be very scary for them because they just have tanks who have high base damage. They don't really have, you know, strong ADC or strong mid laner. So this game is really in the Jumbo's hand. It is their game to win or lose at this point.
Look at the Rift Herald will be taken pretty easily from the Jumbos. They're going to land the Solar Flare onto the Dystopia Reaper as well. The Flash will not save the Karthus just yet. Easy Life actually does not end up using the Tibbers as it is off cooldown right now. The Swirl Seed will barely miss. That could have been a signal for the kill to go over, but instead it's just going to be the Flash blown and no kills going over just yet in the mid lane.
No, I'm kind of confused there. Obviously his mouse was disconnected there because he couldn't move, but there's no pause call.
Yeah, I don't know really what happened there in that middle lane, but it looks like Dystopia did end up getting out safely. The Rift Herald was procced to get all the plays possible in that middle lane without actually taking down the turret. Once again, used right before the plates fall to make sure that the maximum gold efficiency was issued. And yeah, as we head into the 14-minute mark, it's a 10-kill lead, 4k gold lead going over the Jumbos.
Yeah, just so much crowd control made it look like the Karthus was trying to use the S key to move.
It was a little bit weird, but you know, he ended up living. It's all good, you know, so looks like we're chilling just for now. But as we say this, Adi, no turret has been taken just yet, so still a lot of potential for some more gold to go over to one of these teams. It can either be Tufts extending their lead or Penn State trying to close it. Yeah,
Penn State, they haven't like lost too many members recently. I think just for account of not having the cooldowns, but so we were still doing a ton of damage for being 0-4, but Easy Life should pick up.
Yeah, just picks up the solo kill. Will he end up getting traded back though? The Requiem will not actually take down the Annie. Nice job picking up the solo kill, not dying. But now the bot lane for Tufts got to be careful. Jansu get instantly bursted down, and they're twisted Roots will land on the Belisarius as well. Morn is here to try and protect his support and try to make sure he's all fine and dandy. Meanwhile, though, Justinian, once again, just taking pretty not good trades, I would say, in the top side. It's going to be really hard for the Camille to lane against the Orin at this point in the game when he has a lot of these resistances available.
Yeah, and just a really good job from Easy Life with that pick, you know, making sure to not actually use any abilities once the Carlos is really low, let the Tibbers finish the job so that he can spend all of his movement on trying to dodge the Karthus Qs instead of, you know, waiting for the cast time on his Q or W or whatever. So, really good job from him. Tibbers, obviously, MVP, securing that kill. Carlos only did, you know, help out, get those kills in the bot lane, but you know, overall, I think they're kind of fine trading for that kill in the mid lane for that gank, or trading the kill in the mid lane for that gank in the gank in the bot lane. Sorry.
And yeah, if you're Tufts and you see that the kill leader for your opponent is the support Maokai, you're not super concerned about the place that this game is. You know, you did give up a couple of deaths, but it's not really in the worst places. Once again, you really have to worry about this Karthus and Kaisa trying to scale as you get towards the later stages. They're certainly not in the good spot to do that.
Yeah, also I'm surprised they haven't put more effort into the getting Justinian out of this lane, because I feel like every other lane is like relatively strong, but they still have that Camille who's losing those trades to the to the Ornn, as the Ornn starts walking down, try to come around this dragon spawning in 20 seconds.
Yep, the one advantage that Tufts does not have at this point is the dragon count, sitting at 2-0. Potential for Soul Point to go over to Penn State at this point is rather concerning. So, gonna have to be careful. There's the roots coming out from Rooks, though. Gonna lock up 3, gonna buy so much time, but Justinian is here as well. Gonna use the ultimatum onto the tree, donning Shadow. Final auto. The heal will try to buy some time, but the Camille will pick up her first kill of the game as Mooch is now under fire. Gonna be forced to run out of the way as well. Belisarius on along the chase to follow, but it's a 4v5 for the next 12 seconds, which means that Tufts will have the inner hand on the dragon.
Yeah, it was a nice try from Rooks to try to you know, find the twisted advance, but or sorry, I don't know the name of Maokai's ultimate, but whatever Maokai R is, but Sin coming in with a TP, and while those trades in Tala may look like it's not that strong, you know, it's a level 7 Maokai, not a level 11 Ornn.
Justinian running straight through the turret to try and make this dive work onto the Tufts bottom laners. Mr. Lazy gonna get chased down, but not gonna actually fall under the turret. Now Rooks is here from the Death Realm, gonna try and come back in. The Killer Instinct is available, not gonna be used just yet as Jansu falls. Gonna be a trade 1-for-1. Rooks is back in, and so is Mooch. Are gonna stun up Justinian, take him down as well. It's gonna be a 2v3 for the next couple of seconds here. Looks like Tufts went for a bit of an overextension. Morn's gonna fall as well, and so will Belisarius any minute now. Can he get the final kill onto Mr. Lazy? The answer is no. A little bit of an aggressive dive under the tower yields 4 kills going over to Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, Tufts didn't really have the health bars or the cooldowns to try to go for that. I mean, it was very close, but I think they really overestimated how far ahead they actually were, you know. So they actually still doing a decent amount of damage with that Kraken Slayer, and Rix was back up, so the Imperial Mandate was able to do a ton of work, and they were able to just easily get some free kills.
Yeah, they do get the dragon, but it's going to be 2 towers going over to Penn State in return. Got to be careful, though, because Easy Life is here. Does have that flash Tibbers, but not going to actually use it onto Mr. Lazy. Instead, just going to go out, clear the wave, and try to build up some more gold for the next team fight.
Yeah, and also that Annie wasn't there for that dive, and Annie has, let me just look really quickly, 7.2 thousand gold, really strong. Obviously, Lilia is really strong as well, with 7.8 thousand gold, but this Annie can do a ton of work in these team fights.
And it looks like Penn State is doing a good job at staying alive in this game. It's important to note that there is an Ornn on the side of the Nittany line, so once Duckwings does hit that level 13, level 14, the gold lead will start to mean less and less as the ornaments will start to come in. Those free upgrades providing about 900 to 1100 gold worth of stats to whatever champion items you decide to upgrade. It's definitely going to be something you got to watch out for here if you're tough, because the gold lead might not be as big as you think it is, considering the items that can come in.
Yeah, that's a really important thing to remember, you know, it's only a 2,000 gold lead when, you know, those items can come in. You have decent scaling from that Kaisa and the Karthus. Always gotta pay attention to that.
Yeah, definitely. We're headed into the 20-minute mark. The Tufts is still doubling up on the kills against Penn State, so still definitely in the driver's seat here for the next few minutes. Got to be careful, though, as the Dragon will be spawning once again. Always the potential for Soul Point to go over. Easy Life, though, is going to go aggressive here onto Dystopia Reaper. Going to try to stall out the exhaust and potentially look to re-engage in just a little bit, but the Qs are doing work. here for Dystopia Reaper. Is going to ding level 12, but it's not going to continue to go aggressive here.
Yeah, just the exhaust has the ability for cards to kind of turn those kind of plays, but looks like there was a Senna ulti thrown.
Yeah, I didn't see where that was. Might have been on another side of the map when we were looking towards the top laners fighting down bottom, but yeah, Donny Shadow is on cooldown for the foreseeable future. Don't know if that'll really mean anything, as there's nothing really to fight over for the next couple of minutes. Either way, not too much action happening here. We're hitting a bit of a lull in the gameplay, but the gold lead is continuing to seesaw back into Penn State's favor, now only down about 1K.
Yeah, after that, coming off of that failed attempt in the bot lane, you know, Tufts has not really been able to find any more attempts. This has been Annie in that side lane instead of finding picks, and while Karthus is now sitting without the exhaust, they haven't really been able to do anything, which makes sense. There aren't really objectives to fight over. There's Dragon coming up in about 1 minute and 17 seconds, which is something they should, you know, probably focus around, but there's really nothing else to force fights for.
Yep, about 1 minute and counting until that next objective spawns. Ocean Soul would be really nice for either of these teams, really. A lot of healing synergy with the Senna, with the Maokai, even with some of the tanky members here with the Udyr and the Ornn as well. So obviously having that healing will certainly be impactful for everybody. Ocean Soul is generally considered one of the strongest in the game. And so whoever gets it definitely will be very in favor for the next remaining fights.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw Soul. I mean, it wasn't just Soul that turned last game, but like Soul plus that winning team fight, you know, really put Penn State in the driver's seat. So definitely don't count them out yet. We still have plenty of more deciding fights in this game, but looks like Jumbos are gonna start coming into this river as they find Mooch.
Yeah, big chunk already. Udyr's at half HP. They're going to take him down instantly. The Requiem was used early, so no execute available just yet. Mr. Lazy hit the Praise Seeker. Will he go in? Now is the signal to go. Going to take down Jansu. Is now a 4v4. Duck Wings is still super tanky in the front line. Lilting Lullaby hasn't been used just yet. There's a Timbers, though, from Easy Life. Going to take down Mr. Lazy. Send him back to the couch there as Duckwings is now the next target. Dystopia Reaper has been on the backside, and now it's his time to go in. Morn is going to try to finish off the support on the backside of the fight. Will do so, as will Justinian onto Dystopia Reaper. Justinian will manage to escape from the Qs coming out. 4 kills issued from the Jumbos already. Lilting Lullaby still hasn't been used yet, as 4 members of Penn State are down. It's going to be a 4 for 2, and the Dragon has been started up. Can Duckwings buy the time to bring his team back into the fight? The answer will probably be no. He's going to get stunned up by Easy Life. Duckwings is still trying to stay alive here. Is he going to take down anybody? The answer will certainly be negative on that, and that is the Dragon going over. Tufts win the fight, get the Drake. They're now tied at 2-2.
Yeah, and although Ornn has those tank stats, that true damage Q does so much damage from Camille, so just evaporates against that. Really good job from Easy Life, you know, holding that ultimate to try to find Mr. Lazy in the backside of the fight, and they winning that fight, but Jansu's by himself.
Yeah, he's a little bit overextended. The Piercing Light, the Donny Shadow, he's going to stay alive. Oh my goodness, Belisarius will take the kill credit, but it doesn't matter. You live, Jansu, to see another day. You're doing a brilliant job at surviving that dive. Might have looked like he was caught out of position, but the only person caught out of position is the one who's dead, and at the end of the day, Mooch goes down.
Yeah, that's just really gold diff right there, you know, not having enough burst damage from the Udyr or the Kaisa to really secure that kill, and somehow Jansu gets away with it.
Yep, somehow gets away with his life, lives to tell the tale, as Senna will make her way back to base in just a little bit, picking up that Ginsu's Rage Blade. The synergy was changed just a little bit, but still an valuable item on the Senna, as she's just going to continue to scale up. Looking at the soul counter real quick, we see she's at about 41. Obviously, the fasting Senna, not something that we're seeing right now. It definitely picks up more souls than the farming Senna, but makes up for it with the gold.
Yeah, for sure. The Ginzu's already completed for the Senna. A really strong spike. Not as strong as it used to be, where you used to be able to infinitely scale your on-hit damage, but still strong nonetheless.
Certainly so. We're headed into the 24-minute mark of this game, and Tufts has regained their footing here in this game too. It looked like it was slipping just a little bit, but now that we're headed back into that team fight win around the Ocean Dragon, Tufts is once again sitting at about a 4,000 gold lead. And you know, if you want to see more League of Legends, you're definitely going to hope that they continue to push this towards the Nexus going down and head to Game 3.
Yeah, and You know, the Soul laner is just becoming so much stronger now. Justinian was, you know, I think Suga into that Ornn for a little bit there in the early mid game, but now it's super strong. 4, 2, and 5 to his name. Split pushing a ton. Has a level lead already. Just pushing towards putting a lot of pressure on. And I don't think that Ornn has gotten an Ornn upgrade yet, so that is something that Jumbos need to watch out for. But overall, they're very happy with the situation of this game.
Yeah, sitting in a much better spot than they were in game 1. I mean, this kind of has a bit of parallels to the last game, kind of going the opposite way. In the last game, we saw Penn State with the super early game advantage, and then Tufts coming back a little bit, only to get wiped in some later fights. A little bit of an accelerated pace here in this game too, but once again, we saw Tufts kind of take a step back with the Penn State team fight wins a little bit around that bottom lane dive. But now Tufts is once again back in the lead here, trying to push towards that.
Yeah. I mean, like we're seeing in these fights, like it's not like Penn State is like completely weak. You know, Kaisa is able to get those picks on Jansu. Dystopian Reaper somehow does damage as a 1 in 6 Karthus, and again, can't count him out completely, but you know, for the most part, like you're saying, this is kind of the situation Tufts wants to be in. They are decently far ahead. Have the dragon score tied, and they're kind of looking towards solidifying that lead.
Yeah, Karthus is definitely one of those champions that Dystopia Reaper has much experience on. I remember like typing it like in my notes a little bit because I thought he was going towards the bottom lane in this series. I was like, oh, maybe we'll see the Karthus bot. Seeing the Karthus made a little bit more usual, I would say. I think Karthus actually, did he get hit by a nerf in this last patch? He may or may not have. I'm not entirely sure, or maybe it was a buff even. I don't even remember. It was something happened to him that led to some sort of change in the meta, but it looks like Dystopia Reaper, regardless, still wants to bring it out. Justinian is going to start to win these trades a little bit harder here against Duckwing, despite him finishing off that Sunfire as well. He's going to actually come in here with that Hextech Ultimatum. The Qs do so much damage. The Precision Protocol going to finish off the kill. Justinian picks up his 5th kill of the game.
Yeah. Justinian, you know, really able to see the difference between before, you know, those true damage Qs doing like so much of Ornn's HP bar before you could barely see him getting whittled down. And, you know, with that top laner taken down, this might be the call for Jumbos to turn onto this Baron.
Yeah, the DPS isn't too much, but you still have that Senna. Obviously going to be a big issue. It's a 4v5 for the next 20 seconds. Got to be careful, though, because Duckwings has teleport available. The Requiem will chunk out early. Going to take down Jansu to about 70% HP. Does have the lifesteal to continue to push onto the Baron. Mooch has the smite, has the blast cone, and it looks like because of that, the Jumbos will peel off. Nice job from Penn State to prevent the objective from going over to the Jumbos. They're going to stall the game out with Duckwings respawning just now.
Oh, and the dragon is coming up too, which means that the Jumbos are going to lose out on this. But that means the call for go back on Baron.
Yeah, it looks like Mooch went down to try and secure the soul point, but is that even worth it at this point? Baron is ticking down to about half HP. Mooch is fast. Is he fast enough? Duckwings is coming over here. It looks like Rooks is throwing in the saplings as well. Going to try to stall some out. Going to come in with the twisted advance. Baron is secured. Can they get out alive? Rooks is going to take down Jansu instantly, but it looks like he'll be traded back in return. Mooch is running in with the bear stance. Is he going to get enough slash? Cho'Gath Q for Cho'Gath ult for a Q is Justinian going in there. Easy Life will get taken down, but the damage is huge coming out from Ornn and the rest of the Jumbos. 4 kills already. Duckwings is the last member alive. The tanky Ornn is hard to take down, but it's a 4 for 2 so far. They get the Baron, and they're going to make it 5 here as Justinian will jump in with a Hextech Ultimatum. No damage coming out from the Ornn. Ace coming out from Tufts University.
Yeah, and again, really good job from Penn State to try to find a way onto the back lane, getting Jansu down early, getting Easy Life eventually, but the Camille, Justinian Camille, like just like playing like magic tricks with this enemy team. You know, now you see them, now you don't.
And yeah, just bursting down with those Q Triforce procs, doing so much damage and picking up another turret for herself. Justinian now sitting at quite an advantage over Duckwings, was kind of struggling a little bit in the early laning phase, but now about 3,000 gold ahead of the Ornn. I mean, that's a lot of gold. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, and there's about there is the Dragon Soul you have to like be afraid of now. The threat of it coming up with Soul Point, but if you look at the score, 7,500 gold lead for the side of Jumbos with Baron buff just coming up. You know, these guys, you know, again, it's really up to them to like find a way to secure this game before Soul or Ornn items start to become an issue for them.
And at a point, you have to wonder, you know, if the Dystopia Reaper wasn't this far behind, would the fights go any differently? I mean, the Requiem didn't do all too much, maybe about 400 damage to each of the team members there on the Karthus. That's not a whole lot of damage, you know, on this pick. Something that the Dystopia Reaper has played a lot in solo queue, but not sitting at 1-7. You know, you have to imagine if he was at least even in terms of the kills, had a lot more items, maybe had maybe a third item to match with the Banshees as well. Maybe could have done enough damage to carry like he did in game 1.
Yeah, I mean, he still has a 237 farm, so he has some gold to his name. But again, 1-7 means the enemy team is so much stronger.
Once get hit by the Prey Seeker, not gonna go in here from Mr. Lazy. Probably would have been a bit of a death wish to hit that R button in on to Morn going in 1v5, but the push will continue to go down. They're gonna go for a 1-4 here as they're gonna leave Justinian up in the top lane as the rest of the Jumbos will push down mid. Looks like the second inner turret of the game will fall, and now the inhibitors are under fire here for Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, Kaisa now has that Ornn upgraded item, but is it a little too late? Who knows? We have to see as these minions keep crashing into these towers.
Justinian sitting here in the side lane against Duckwings. Once again, we're talking about how far ahead he is in terms of gold right now. I think he actually backed and ended up picking up like a full Ravenous Hydra after that Baron fight. So if he wasn't strong in that last fight, he's definitely going to be way stronger in this one. And yeah, as you said, Adi, the Kaisa ultimate, the Ornn upgrades are going over. We see that Mr. Lazy has picked up the Wormfallen Sacrifice. You know, it's going to take me a little bit of time to try to remember all these names of the Ornn upgraded items. It's going to be... It's a bit of a process, you know, with the new item reworks and everything. But the added gold value coming out onto Mr. Lazy will be important as they have been a big factor in some of these team fights, you know, going in to try and assassinate some of the backline. The only question is, now with the Zhonya's completed on Easy Life and Morn, is she going to do enough to try and assassinate?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, another place to talk about, like, the Magi is already completed for, or picked up for Morn, you know, 14.7 thousand, sorry, gold to his name, has 4 items, has boots and a giant's belt, you know, really strong now.
Yeah, probably will finish off that build with a bit of a demonic embrace. Have seen some rallies on Lily, is not as common as demonic though, probably. But as you said, Adi, that dragon trade is gonna be a bit of a problem for the Jumbos as they did trade it for the Baron. Only thing is though, of course, that now that the Baron went over, a big chunk of gold also went over to Tufts, now sitting at about a 7,500 gold lead, much farther ahead than they were before, but they might be a bit out of position here. The Twisted Advance is going to land in on the Jansu. This would be big if they can manage to pick it out, but it's going to be a trade back. They're going to take it down, Dystopian Reaper. Here comes the Requiem though. Will it do a lot of damage? It's going to be Zhonya's out from Easy Life. The Q will not take him down. Justinian will take down the Kaisa as well. Going to be a 2-for-2 as Belisarius and Morn will get taken down in the backside of the fight as well. Mooch will fall as to follow Belisarius, trying to run, but he's running in the wrong direction for the time being. It's now a 2v2. The damage is pretty high coming out from Penn State. Not a lot coming out from Justinian just yet. It's going to be up to him and Easy Life, but Easy Life doesn't have a real way over the pit. Justinian takes down Duckwings, and Rooks is the only one alive now for Penn State. Easy Life still has a stun, still has the flash. Potentially could manage to take down Rook's. Gonna come in here with the E, gets the accelerated movement speed. Not gonna use that flash to get onto the tree just yet. Rook's is gonna try and go in. It's his only really chance out of here, but the Incinerate Electrocute damage is so huge. The final Q will say goodbye to tree as he gets burned down in a Forest Fire. Ace picks up the Tufts.
Yeah, and this game is really just like solo lane MVP. Once again, you know, Penn State really good job fighting the picks onto Jinsu and Easy Life, but Justinian just like 1v5 that, you know? He was like sitting in the back line, and obviously, you know, credit to the rest of the Jumbos, you know, holding the Udyr and the Karthus and whatever, you know, over in that chokehold so that Camille could dive the back line, but like, Camille just kind of killed the Kaisa, killed the Udyr, killed everyone there.
And you can see the composition style that Penn State was going for. I mean, it's kind of working for them almost even right now. You have this massive front line that buys so much time, even tries to take down some of the members of the Jumbos, but the back line doesn't really do a whole lot. And now with the Baron being started up, might be even more of a large influx of gold going to go over. Mooch is going to come in, he's going to steal the Baron, and that is a big play coming out from the Penn State jungle. The question is, can they win the fight? Killer is going to come in, Mr. Lazy is ticking low, going to get taken down by the final precision protocol. But here comes Nature's Grasp, two-man sleep coming out from Morn, has 13 kills, will pick up another as Easy Life will fall on the backside of the fight. Triple kill now coming out from Justinian, and that is a wipe. You lose the Baron, but can you win the game?
Yeah, I mean, there's a really good steal from Mooch. It looks like Belisarius was going to try to, snag the Udyr with the ultimate, but Udyr hit that blast plume and was able to get over. But looks like Dystopian Reaper is going to lose his last Baron buff.
All the way from the inhibitor tower, and that is a big shot going in onto Dystopia Reaper, dying for the 9th time this game. 35 minutes into this one, 20 kill lead going over the Jumbos. They're pushing down onto the base. They got 10 seconds on Mr. Lazy's respawn. Don't think that they're going to be able to finish out the game with 2 members only right there. Maybe if you had the Baron, could have ended up a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, again, Baron was not really picked up, but 5 kills, that's a little more than 1,500 gold. Definitely going to take that as they, use that to try to push in more towers and really showing like the gold difference here. It was a really good attempt, like over there in the top side above the Baron pit. They were able to get a decent amount of damage down, but Justinian just one-shot the Kaisa, easy life plus Justinian just killing everyone else. The Lilia, massive Q, massive sleep, so much AoE damage that it didn't really matter.
And it seems like the setups from Penn State, are looking good here. As you see another trade here on the top side. Duckwings is going to try to use the ultimate to buy some time, try to take down Justinian. Now has to be a bit careful though, has the Guardian Angel stuck in a 2v1. Going to have to use that life steal to try and stay alive. And now with a lot of members focused towards this top side for Penn State, Tufts will have their reign onto the bottom side jungle.
Yeah, Mr. Lazy was also like hovering on that top side, maybe looking for a way to get into that fight with his ultimate, but no, nothing was able to happen there. Just able to get out, back up to full HP because of that Ravenous Hydra, and Jumbos are crashing on that tier 2 in the bot lane.
Gotcha. Yeah, 37 minutes into this banger of a game 2 in the CSL playoffs, but it looks like the Jumbos will pick up their final out in their turret of this game 2. Could potentially look for more down the push, but the only objectives really left for them to take are these inhibitor towers. Easy Life's gonna go aggressive, gonna land the stun onto Mr. Lazy, but he's been caught out as well. Gonna have the Zani to buy out some time. Can he get away with his life? The shields are huge, the damage is huge. Dystopia Reaper falls to more on the backside of the fight. Easy Life will take down Rooks, but will fall in return. The Requiem will not do enough damage as Belisarius is now 1v2 into the enemy base. It's a 3-for-1 so far. Tufts is gonna look to push for more.
Yeah, look at the top side. Justinian having solo reign on that inhibitor tower, and those of you who may be new to the game, Camille can do a lot of work on the objectives, especially with four items.
It's a last-ditch effort now for the Nittany Lions. And this is going to be Mooch and Duckwings, the 2 tanks coming in to try and save the game, trying to prevent that game 3. Duckwings are going to dash in. The Living Lullaby is still available, is now going to be used onto 2. The sleep, the Dawning Shadow, the damage is all there. Belisarius will pick up a double kill because who cares at this point? You don't need the gold because you win the game. Tufts sends us to game 3.
Yeah, an amazing performance from the Jumbos. Really good attempt from Penn State. They were actually holding themselves up pretty well during most of that game. Not letting Jumbos run away too much, but in the end, the leads they were able to get were enough, and they were able to send us to game 3.
What a game. It looked like Tufts was in the position to win the entire time, but it took a little while, for them to finally close it out. Shout out to Penn State for, keeping it close, keeping the fights crazy, and keeping this series competitive. We got game 3 action. Once again, it's winner go home. Now for both of these teams, whoever takes this next game will continue on to the next round tomorrow. We'll see you after a quick break. Welcome back, everybody. Game 3 here in the CSL playoffs. Penn State versus Tufts University Blue. Adi, this is it. We got the final draft here for today. Penn State once again returning to blue side. So far, blue side has a 100% win rate in this series. Penn State going to try to do that again. Bands have already gone through. Once again, going to be Olaf going over to Mooch with the first pick.
Yeah, I mean, seeing a little bit similar draft at the beginning, taking away the Lily instead of the Senna, Lily has a pretty dominating performance, and because of that, Tufts is going to pick up the Senna.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Blue side, red side. It seems like Tufts will just find this center pick however possible. Once again, still the potential to flex down to the ADC or support role, as both of these players definitely know how to play this champion. We'll see what the final pick here on this first rotation is. Jumbo's in just a couple of seconds, but that Olaf on to Mooch has been scary. Morn's going to trade it right back with the Udyr as the Lilia was taken away in the first phase.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. Jungle picks, like we said. Lilia's taken away, so the Udyr is instead answering the Olaf. Other than that, I feel like both bands kind of reflects the kind of respect the teams have gone for each other after games 1 and 2, but looks like Penn State is going to try to run that Kai'Sa back again.
Yep, it's going to be Karthus locked in as well, going over to Penn State, and that is going to be another lock-in here, going over to Dystopia Reaper. Definitely a champion that he's been super comfortable on. As we said before, didn't have the best showing in game 2, did get targeted a lot in the early stages of the game, but now with this pick under his belt, it's going to be a good showing here, hopefully for Penn State, as they continue to put emphasis on this pick.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning that although the Karthus did get ganked a lot and died a ton, he was still doing a decent amount of damage. His Q was a third to half HP of Jianzu's health every single time. The ulti didn't do too much, but he was still not completely out of the game. So I think they're just hoping that if they're able to get some more support for this Karthus, make sure he doesn't go 0-7 in lane or something like that, he might be able to be a lot more relevant in these fights. But Leona is picked up again from Tufts. I think I like this decision, deciding to keep their bot lane higher priority, not trying to relegate it down to 5th pick again, getting 5 bans targeting it, but instead, they're going to lose picks like that Scion and stuff.
Yeah, but now you finish off the bot lane. Once again, Jan's going to be picking up the Senna, going to be farming up on that champion down at the bottom side. And we're going to see what happens. Both of these teams have their top laners still to pick. So expecting to see that targeted here in the second phase advance. We got Scion taken off the table as well as the Ornn, two beefy red champions being taken away from both these top laners.
Yeah, we saw the Camille picked last time from the side of the Jumbos, and although we obviously know that Justinian, yeah, that's it, right? Yeah. He also has the Gnar pick as well, but I think it's a good idea to take the Ornn away so that Jumbos don't have to play that Camille into Ornn and have him go weak side for a decent part of the game.
Camille is still on the table though, as Galio will be the final ban off the table here. Lots of picks still available for Easy Life though. The Annie, Ahri still available for the taking here in the mid lane. The Camille, though, while can be picked, something interesting to note, Volibear did get a buff in this last patch, and Duckwings is definitely somebody who really likes to play this champion.
Yeah, which is why we might see the pick going for mid lane first. Yep, like we say right there, the Annie is picked up from Jumbo. It's just monstrous performance from Easy Life last game, getting so many picks, and oh my god, I felt so bad for that Karthus. There was a time where he just got Leona ulted, Leona Q'd, Annie Q'd, or Annie ulted, and then by the time Leona CC was done, Annie's stun was back up, Q again. It was not a good time.
Certainly not, but a bit of a difference here in Sport Pool. It looks like Penn State will go for, instead of a mage in the bottom side, they'll go for the Nautilus here over to Rook. So final pick will go towards that top side. The question is, what does Duckwings want to blind here in this matchup? Because Justinian gets the counter pick. There's a lot of options that could be available here for Penn State.
Yeah, just talking really a bit about this Nautilus pick. It's pretty good into other. I think it's decent into other engaged supporters, but I think the biggest part that's really good about it is with the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa Nautilus is one of those infamous lanes. Applying a ton of CC, but also pulling the enemies in a little bit so that Kai'Sa can use her short range to actually dish out a ton of damage, and it's just been a very strong lane for a very long time. But Malphite is actually taken for Penn State in their top lane.
Interesting pickup here for Duckwings. You're forcing Argentine to maybe go for something like the Vladimir here, but instead just going to be the Camille. I mean, can just probably work out similar to the Ornn matchup, just go for some engages and just try to farm up scale for the later stages of the game if you are Justinian. Obviously, don't lane into Malphite too well, but it'll be all right. We saw how Justinian managed to survive the laning phase in the last game. And it's really important because it maintains the kind of balance in terms of damage. I'm sure if Justinian went for more of a mage on the top side, would have been way too much magic to try and go for. So I do like the Camille pickup here, as the Lacanto said, for game 3.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good, strong composition from both teams. I think Penn State, going for a little more dive, Malphite, Olaf, Kaisa, these do a decent amount of damage, but we might see a little bit of a repeat of last game where even though Penn State was fighting good picks, just a really fed Camille would one-shot everyone, even though both Gensu and sometimes even Easy Life were dead.
Yeah, and just the compositions have been finalized. A little bit old, a little bit of new from the compositions in game 1 and game 2. The only unique champions that we see here that we haven't seen yet in this series are this Nautilus and this Malphite. Gonna get picked up, but yeah, it looks like all of the rest of the champions are going to be picked up by people who have played some of these champions before in earlier series. So it'll definitely be pretty exciting, as it is now finally time for the champ select to be underway. Game 3 is definitely going to be important for both of these teams. They want to make it further in the CSL playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said so many times this match, it's win or go home, but it's especially win or go home for this one because this is game 3. And as they start going through the whole champ select, getting ready for that spectator delay, I'm just really excited. I think both games have shown a lot of strength for both teams, and I'm hoping to have a repeat, a really exciting game 3.
Yeah, and it'll be up to the solo laners of Tufts once again. I mean, we saw how powerful they were on these 2 picks in the last game. Penn State gonna have to try and stifle them a little bit harder. Obviously, Morn is not on that Lilia that had so much of an impact in the early game in game 2. Now back on the Udyr, gonna try and work towards some of that power farming once again. And we'll see how powerful he can also be as we get later into the game. But yeah, lots of things to look out for. A bit of an amalgamation of game 1 and 2 coming in here for game 3. And yeah, I'm just super excited to see this game. I think I'm expecting a lot of really explosive team fights for the late stages.
Oh, for sure. I think even just not even before we get a team fight, I think we're gonna get explosive picks. Look at both comps have so many hard CC abilities and so many pick potential abilities as well that if anyone's caught off guard, they're gonna get deleted in a second. They're gonna be standing there watching their screen as they're CC'd for about 4 seconds, and then it'll turn gray.
Oh man, that is not something that I want to be a part of if I was anybody here on either of these teams. Just as you said, Adi, so much ability to just pick people up. The follow-up is also super huge from people like Kaisa and Camille. Any of these stunts can easily be followed up from pretty far away. So definitely lots to look forward to in this game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, lots of things to look forward to, and we're not gonna have to look forward for long because about 5 minutes we'll be back for game number 3. So don't go anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone else, welcome to Game 3 CSL Playoffs, Tufts versus Penn State. It all comes down to this in the decisive Game 3. It's win or go home. Your season is over, Adi, and it looks like right now both of these teams are hungry for a victory.
Yeah, I mean, as you guys can see in the chat, Leona obviously loading in without the prestige skin. Very sad. Hopefully that won't be the difference maker, or I guess if you're Penn State, hopefully it is. But Yeah, it looks like Penn
Uh-oh.
State started this first game off of a
Oh!
bang. Over the flash hook that misses!
Rooks does not hit on the dredge line, but is the damage enough? They're going to pop the ignite. The undertow will hit. And not enough damage. Rooks with a crucial mistake. Missing out on the flash dredge line will prevent a kill going over to Jansu early on.
Yeah, and while they're trading flash in the ball lane, obviously favored for the side of Penn State. Look at the vision that was able to get. They have that ward on top of the blue buff. They're just easily backing guy in the sweeper, and that flash hook missing, and the ignite gone too. Not a good look for game number 3.
Yeah, it's Flash on Senna versus double sums blown on the Nautilus. You can take that as you will for who won that trade. I think it's not super easy to decide that. Looks like Mooch and Ducklings will be starting on this top side, which means that Tufts will know where the Olaf is starting early on. Udyr, definitely one of the champions that can go for some early ganks as he hits level 3, and we'll see if he ends up doing it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is Senna's gonna be a little scared now of an early Olaf gank, knowing that there's no flash on her anymore. But overall, I think they should be fine with how that went. It was a good 5-point from them, not losing too much off of that 5-stack engage. And yeah, it looks like again the bot lane from Jumbo is just going that push early, trying to get that level 2, and we might see a bit of an engage as well.
Yeah, and the best part is now that they did spot out Mooch on the top side, Jansu and Belisarius kind of know when they have the chances to go in and when they have to be careful of the Olaf coming down. They probably know that around 3:10, 3:15 to start backing up, maybe crash a little bit before that, make sure that they're safe from any ganks, as they know that he already started on his top side. So it's like it's going to be full clear starts for both of these junglers. And Duckwings, he's going to win the early lane against Justinian. It's Malphite.
Yeah, all he has to do is not trade when Justinian has that shield and all of that, basic Malphite mechanics, making sure you're getting full value from your mana ban and your comet, but looks like Malphite might go for a kill here.
Does have the shield, but looks like the potions are popping. Gonna force the flash actually out of Justinian. A little bit of an over-aggressive engage there, going over to the Camille. Malphite's obviously just gonna win, has a lot of those early armor stats, getting the attack speed slow as well. Super hard matchup into Justinian early on. It's not until you get later into the game when you have those giant Qs coming out from the Camille where you start to win out in the side lane.
Yeah, and like you're saying, the early damage plus early armor, but Jansu tried to stay pretty long to get that extra pull.
They're going to flash over, but the hook's still going to land on the Belisari. It's at the 3v3 as Morn has joined the party. The Zenith Blade back in. It's going to be first blood picked up for Mooch, but can they get more? Morn's going to get a kill back onto the Olaf, and now Rooks is on the run. Morn's going to take another kill down as Jansu will pick him up. Morn's going to flash out to save his life. It's actually a 2-for-1. They get it's first blood for 2 kills as Morn is here to prevent the re-engage from going too bad.
Yeah, Morn barely able to secure that last kill. It seemed like a bit of an overcommit from the side of the Jumbo's bot lane. Senna taking an extra pull, almost got caught out there, but nice hook from our Rooks, getting the hook on Belisarius through her flash. But overall, just a 2-for-1 for the side of Jumbo. It was a good job from them.
Yeah, and they knew the Olaf was coming, but obviously with Morn, they were expecting Morn to come as well, going to try to go for the 3v3. More action happening in the bot side, though. They're going to land the Zenith Blade onto the cleanseless Mr. Lazy, going to get rooted up with the W. Not going to actually end up falling, though, and now it's time for Penn State to kind of go on the aggressive a little bit more. The Nautilus was left untouched, not going to be able to go down, but it's just another trade here, but Mr. Lazy, now without a flash, is now down to about 50% HP.
Yeah, and that's both thumbs away, and with the giant wave and the 12 CS lead, Udyr might be going for a dive, but backs away as realizes that the Olaf is nearby.
Yeah, and now Justinian doing a good job getting the wave crashed in, getting a nice little back off. Probably not even going to have to use that teleport to get back into lane with the Sheen, but Rooks has caught out Jansu after the back. Blind hook will land onto the Senna, but here comes the crowd control. Once again, no sums available on Mr. Lazy or Rooks, which means that not a lot of combat power is available for the Penn State bot lane. They're going to continue to push the wave in, and even though they did interrupt the back, it's a winning trade for the Tufts.
Yeah, I mean, who caught out Q there? It seems like Tufts is the one who comes up on top of that because they got to push yet another wave in, and Mr. Lazy and Rooks aren't able to capitalize on it. However, Olaf is coming here, might be able to catch out Belisarius, but the sidestep on the hook means that they're just going to be able to walk out.
Beautiful dodge. Pops the rel emote. Says, yeah, you know, you banned my champion 3 times, but I can play this. It's good enough as well. You know, Belisarius doing a great job in this series. Was super impactful in both of the games, and now doing it once again on the Leona.
Yeah, overall, you know, a bit of skirmishing going on in the bot lane. Jumbo's coming out slightly ahead, but it's still a relatively even game.
And right now, Morn is going to try to head down here. Already has level 6. This is a super accelerated Udyr, and the teleport from Easy Life means that they're going to try to go a little bit further. Does have the stun available onto Rooks. Not going to be able to do anything too much with that dredge line, you know, stunning up a little bit onto Rooks. But, you know, not that big of a deal. You know, you blow the teleport, but you are going to have the inner positioning on this dragon with 4 members strong.
Yeah, and Jansu is, you know, back under his tower, but still be able to, you know, help fight this as he tries to steal.
Steal a little bit. Smite was a little bit too early. You know, Duck Wings up in the top side, you know, also trading as well. But Mooch does not end up getting 2 steals in a row, as he's going to end up flashing out after trying to go in there with the Blast Cone. First Dragon of the game for the first time this series will go to Tufts.
Yeah, they just had so much pressure in this ball lane. Really good job from Jansu and Belisarius making the plays that Morn's easily able to capitalize on that and get some pressure there.
7 minutes into this game. This is the tightest early game that we've had all series. In the first game, it was definitely Penn State who had the early advantage. Game 2, it was Morn with 4 kills early on the Lilia. And now the kills are even, almost 500 gold lead, make it 6 right now for Tufts, but it's really not that big of a deal. Jansu nearly got hit by another hook there. Justinian now sitting at about 300 HP with the Requiem coming through to try to chunk out the Camille, but that is a beautiful dodge coming out from Justinian, and Belisarius is here as well. I don't even understand how you react that fast, but Justinian cancels the Unstoppable Force, jumps in with the ultimatum, Belisarius is there, and they get another kill on the top side.
Yeah, a beautiful ulti. Like you said, I don't understand how you possibly do that without, like, being a prediction, you know? He probably was thinking that Duckwing was looking for it, and also probably thought that, you know, the Malphite probably thought that he can easily combo the Camille and kill her, but the Camille knew, and because of that, they were able to get a kill. However, Jansu's by himself.
Yeah, it doesn't have the ultimate, which means that not a lot of survivability available for the Senna, dying under the tower 1v2 as Belisarius gets punished for his roam top lane.
Yeah, no sums, you know, given up from the Senna. Too much CC, I think, and the Ignite, so not a good idea to blow any of them there, but good job from Penn State to punish the support roam. But Belisarius flashing in.
Does have the Eclipse, not gonna actually end up hitting that final damage onto Rooks. Maybe could have been lethal if that W did end up getting the damage off, but instead, it's just gonna be a flash for the reset force out of the Penn State bot lane. Belisarius not able to get a kill down there.
Yeah, just kind of a blown flash there. No Hex Slash either, but he's not going for the solo kill.
Well, but the Exhaust is taking a lot of reduction there. Gonna be a flash trade on both sides. Easy Life will manage to get out with his life and still with the Dystopia Reaper. 2 sums for 1, not the worst trade, as you know the Exhaust does do a good job at limiting a lot of the all-in potential coming out from Easy Life.
Yeah, and that does mean though that this card is going to be really fragile. You know, threat of an Udyr gank, threat of the Leona gank, threat of just Annie getting her Tibbers up again and going for the one-shot. You know, this card has to play a little more safe.
Oh, Dystopia still stayed. Didn't actually end up taking the back. Easy Life doesn't have the flash to go in, obviously, but maybe Belisarius can change the narrative just a little bit. Solar Flare will miss, but the zone forward means that he'll get stunned up. Easy Life will die in return, but it's a 1-for-1 with the wave crashing under the tower.
Yeah, and Olaf will be able to pick up that farm, but I think overall, Jumbos are fine with that. You know, Karth is losing some farm, get some statistical onto the Leona, and look at Leona. Leona's walking straight top.
Yeah, it looks like Belisarius is all over the map this game, but gotta be careful though because, you know, Dystopia Reaper on the Karth is definitely in a better spot than he was in game 2, and all these roams mean that Jansu is continuously going to be targeted here in these fights. Going to use the heal to try and save some time. The Dawning Shadow will buy some more time. Not going to be able to save his life though. Meanwhile, it looks like Mooch actually caught out Belisarius on the top side, but Morn is doing so much damage on the top side though. Fight's going on back and forth, but the last turret shot on to Duckwings will take him down. The Justinian gets to the solo kill. I don't even know what happened in that engage, but I think at the end of the day it was a 3-for-2.
Yeah, I mean, Director Camera had no idea where to even, like, you know, what kind of fight to watch. Just going top bot, you know, really good job from Jansu, actually able to play that super well. Held onto those sums from last time and was able to use them to just stay alive long enough for Morn to get that double kill. And you know, I don't know how Belisarius died, but Camille able to get the return kill means that overall that's a 3 for 2.
Oh, and now Easy Life might be in a bit of trouble. Gonna use the Tibbers under the tower, though. Gonna actually try and stun up Dystopia Reaper. He will fall, but Belisarius will pick up 1 and make it 2. It's a 2-for-1 combo here in the mid lane as Easy Life will get a kill as well. 2 members die in the failed dive.
Yeah, and Flash Exhaust given up Carlos last time, which means that Easy Life is able to burst down mostly, and Belisarius has been all over the map this game. Don't even Moby boots, they're lucidity builds, meaning that like doesn't have as much move speed, but just really good job. You know, you're underselling his performance game 1. Not going to do that this time. He's been super strong with that Leona, being all over the place, but Morn has now found out the ball lane.
So fast going in onto Mr. Lazy, gonna have nowhere to run. And Belisarius will pick up his second kill of the game. Justinian has joined the party with the teleport, and Rooks will certainly be castled right here. Gonna try and use the dredge lane out safely, but Justinian will pick up another kill for himself, make it 3. Dragon number 2 will also go over to Tufts.
Andrew, how did Belisarius get over there again? How is he everywhere? I
wherever he looks. It's actually crazy, yeah. Everywhere there's a fight, it seems like Belisarius is just there. And he's just been doing so much work all over the map. Only problem though really is kind of the disadvantages that his mid and bot lane have been kind of put at here. Dystopia Reaper now up 30 CS, as well as Mr. Lazy here. But it seems to be working out pretty well. You know, the top side is significantly ahead. Morn has about a 30 CS lead on this Udyr, as Justinian also has 3 kills on the Camille as well. So obviously, it's just going to be up to Easy Life and Jansu to try and survive, play weak side, do a bunch of the damage when it matters.
Yeah, I mean, Jansu I think has done a pretty decent job of playing weak side. Somehow still has that Kraken Slayer for the boots, both Kraken Slayer components on the Kaisa, and you know, this guy, they're playing with this Leona so well, you know. I mean, obviously, we're talking about like Belisarius being everywhere, but it's no accident that they're in all the right places at all the right time. Tufts is just playing around those ropes so well, and what is going on in the mid lane? The happy feet from the Annie.
Yeah, gonna do some nice sidestepping, and that's a Donnie Shadow finishing off the kill. Jansu not gonna be able to get some farm, but he'll get a kill mid. The Requiem will not do enough to take down the Annie. Another kill going down onto the Dystopia Reaper.
Yeah, that exhaust isn't on the Senna, so that Senna ulti coming down from the bot lane means that that's a kill secured, and there's a Camille ultimate.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Duckwings is gonna be in too much danger. Has a lot of armor already, the Bramble Tabbies rush, but Morn gonna continue to go in with the you know, Chem Tank. But now it's 3 members down to the bot side. Belisarius gonna flash away from the hook, but Morn will place that Rift Herald on the top side once again, right before the 14-minute mark. Just get the gold into your carries as fast as possible. Get Justinian some extra gold, get it about a plate's worth right there, make it 2, and that is a brilliant play on the top side. But Justinian actually might be in a bit of trouble here. Duckwings does have a lot of damage, but Morn is here as well. He knows it's a 2v1. No ultimates available on the Camille just yet, but you know, it's all okay for now, I think. 6 kills to 12 here as we head to the 14-minute mark.
Yeah, and I think overall, just Jumbos have been playing the map so much better. Like, getting so many roams with the Udyr and the Leona, and you know, Annie has just been so strong recently. Really playing around this card, this sums, and making sure that she has like enough damage to get those all-ins, and or at least get the summer spell. But Belisarius walked away, and there's the dive in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, the wave's crashing, which means it's time to dive Jansu again. He falls once more to the bot lane dive. Gonna be Penn State picking up the first tower of the game, surprisingly. After all of the kills going over to the top side, not gonna be able to capitalize on an early tower, but instead, the bot lane of Mr. Lazy and Rooks take down that first brick, get a bit of gold back for themselves.
Yeah, and there is a bit of a lead for the Jumbos, but like all 3 games so far, it is within like 2k. It is a very slim gold lead, and both teams are in it.
Yeah, 15 minutes. Definitely the closest game that we've seen so far this series. Sure, Tufts has a 5-kill lead, but it's tower advantage so far going over to Penn State. So right now, it just looks like it can really be anyone's game. And the question is, how important, how can the fights play out in the later stages? Because, you know, Tufts now actually sitting at the Dragon advantage, something that we have not really seen from them so far this series. Now sitting 2-0 on the Drakes, will definitely have the leverage to force some fights if they desire.
Yeah. I mean, we've always seen that it was Penn State with those Dragon Soul points, you know, forcing Jumbos to be wherever Penn State wanted them to be. But this time, it's a 2-0 drag lead for Jumbos, like you're saying. So maybe with their when they're the ones with this advantage, they will be able to force some favorable fights for themselves. But his life is 1v2 in the mid lane.
Yeah, he's got to be careful though. Mr. Late's going to jump in. The shield will do enough. They're going to take him down. And Jancy will trade one back though. Mr. Late will end up falling. Rooks now a bit out of position. Going to use the hook to get out with his life. 1-for-1 overall. 80 carry from mid lane. 16 minutes into the game. Tower in the mid lane under fire though. Rooks is here with Mooch though. Not going to hit the hook onto Jansu. Means that they're probably not going to look for too much more.
But the TP flank.
Oh wait, hold on. Here comes Duck Wings. Can he actually get onto the carries? Not gonna be able to. Nice usage of the stuns there from so much of the Tufts team members. You got the Bear Slap, you got the Solar Flare, preventing the Malphite from going in and preventing Jansu from going down.
And with the TP coming in from the Annie, Camille's walking back from base as well. Looks like Jumbos are going to try to contest this Dragon Pit, or maybe they just take the mid lane tower instead.
Yeah, I mean, they have the time, 10 seconds until the ocean spawns, and now without Justinian, they can't really force a fight around the pit just yet. But now with the mist coming down here, going to disguise a lot of the Jumbos early on. Morn is going to be the front line here in this fight. Going to continue to try and run forward. But Justinian's on the flank. Actually, the hook is going to land onto the Camille. The fight has begun. Belisarius is in the middle of the enemy team. Justinian's going to try and flash in onto Mr. Lazy, but the health bars are melting on the side of Tufts. Easy Live is taking below HP. They do end up taking down Dystopia Reaper, but it's going to be a trade back onto Belisarius. 2-for-1 so far. They're going to land the hook onto Jansu as well. The Tibbers will take down Mr. Lazy, but now the fight is still so close. All the health bars are so low. Jansu is somehow still alive. Picks up 2, picks up 3. That's the ace. That's the Drake Soul point going over Tufts University.
And what a close fight, you know. It started out with Penn State kiting that out so well, using that Malphite ult to take out Justinian and make sure that Mr. Lacy, the carry for the team right now, like, can do a lot. But on the other side of the fight, Dystopian Reaper dies, and although Dystopian Reaper has the passive, Jump's able to like disengage so well, and then you just have a Bear like sitting and like whacking everyone. So while they're able to get like Easy Life and Gensu so low, the Bear just like kind of melted everyone with a Phoenix stance plus the Bomby Cinder Burn, and really good fight from Jumbos. It was really close. Both, I mean, this is kind of what we expect from this match. You know, all 3 games have had really close fights just like these, but in the end, that's Soul Point and 3K gold lead going inside of Jumbos.
And I'm going to be honest, Adi, I have literally zero idea how Tufts managed to steal that fight away onto their side. You know, it looked so good for Penn State early on. They had the Karthus in the middle of the enemy team. The Nautilus and the Malphite had a beautiful crowd control chains, and it looked like they were just going to be able to like take down a lot of these main carries, but somehow Jan remained alive. Easy Life hit a beautiful ultimate onto Mr. Lazy as being so patient there on the ultimate, and they were able to win the fight. Now Ducklings might be the one in trouble as Belisarius once again headed towards top lane. Seems like he likes it a little bit more than bot. Morn going to jump in, has a level advantage over Ducklings as well. We got to be careful though, because Rooks and Mr. Lazy are going to come back in just a little bit. Mooch is going to join the party as well. And now Jansu, once again, might be a little bit too far forward. The flash hook will hit, and that is a little bit dangerous. That's a depth charge coming in on the Jan. The Killer Instinct back. The triple knockup from Duckwing, and the Requiem will do even more. That's going to be the Gorge Drinker coming out from Mooch to save his life for now. Duckwings will get hit by that Hextech ultimatum, will get taken down by Easy Life, but Morn and Belisarius are still wreaking havoc onto the back line. They're going to take down Rooks. Mooch is going to run into the alcove to save his life. They burst down Mr. Lazy with 3 members strong. Double kill to Easy Life. Another kill going over to Justinian. Well, not 20 minutes yet, so no Baron, but it's a 4 for 1, sorry, going over to Tufts.
Yeah, and Andrew, I think I kind of had a sense of how that like first fight was able to turn. You know, Easy Life was able to like land a good ultimate onto Mr. Lazy, and just like playing around the team so well with the Udyr and the Senna barely staying alive. But what happened there? It sounded like such a good pick. I mean, they got the flash ulti from the Malphite, the Jansu not even being able to play the game, but I guess Easy Life, once again, you know, the trigger discipline on that ultimate, making sure you get 2 or 3 people down, just kiting back, and the I don't know, I guess the consistent damage from Camille and Udyr just being like really massive threats. They're able to eventually get him down with the help of Belisarius's constant CC chain.
And it was also a 4v5. I mean, it was Dystopia Reaper's Requiem that did chunk down a lot of members of the Jumbos, but after that, he was just chilling in the bot side. I mean, he wasn't a factor in the rest of that fight, so it does kind of lead to the Jumbos taking that fight, but it's still incredible how they managed to win that. It looked like such a great pick coming out from Penn State. Once again, as you said, Adi, the double knockups into the triple unstoppable force, and it just looked like the follow-up was really going to be there. But without Dystopia Reaper, and it was just Mr. Lazy hitting onto the members of the Jumbos, really didn't end up in their favor once again, as they're now down 11 kills and 5,000 gold.
Yeah, and it seems like this game is slipping further and further away from Penn State, but they're going to try to look for a pick in the ball lane, but
look at the damage!
Ultimate.
They take down Dystopia Reaper. Justinian, are you going to be able to get out? No, burn from the Leandries will manage to take him down, but it's a 1-for-1, and now Belisarius and Morn are on the run. Justinian ends up going 1-for-1. Nice use of the Dawning Shadow to buy some time, but now the Dragon is spawning about a minute. Nothing to contest just yet around the pit. And yeah, just it looked like a crazy engage there from Justinian, but somehow it manages to work.
Yeah, the Santa ultimate did so much damage there, and then after that, it's just one true damage Q to wrap up that kill. But you know, it's still like Carlos is the one they got to pick on. But now Morn is looking for Mr. Lazy.
Oh, nice usage of that E. Gonna prevent him from getting hit by the bear slap. No flash for him. Morn will not actually end up getting that pick onto the bottom side. So it's just gonna be Belisarius kind of chilling around here on the bot side. Might actually get caught out here. Two members here raining down onto the Sun God. Will take her down. 4v5 for the next 35 seconds with Dragon spawning in 30.
Yeah, Phantom Dancer, Kraken Slayer, Kaisa. Not gonna take long to melt through that Leona, but Easy Life is trucking down that tower in the top lane. Dragon still has 15 seconds to spawn, but looks like Justinian might be caught.
Caught in a 1v3, gonna flash out, but Jansu takes a lot of damage from the Requiem. Justinian, can he get the pick onto the Dystopian Reaper? Gonna hit him up with a hook shot. Doesn't have the ultimate just yet, but it doesn't matter. It gets melted immediately. 1-for-1 already. Double stun from Easy Life. Get a kill onto Mooch. Jungler down. Support down. Duckwings now into the middle of the enemy team. Still has the ultimate, gonna use it onto Easy Life, but Morn is still trying to hit onto Mr. Lazy. Won't take him down, but the Incinerate will. Now Easy Life is caught between a rock and a hard place because Duckwings is here. Gonna actually not fall to the Malphite, as Tibbers is gonna prevent any sort of re-engage from the Malphite. But another fight going so crazily, and somehow Tufts win again.
Yeah, it looked like they were getting caught out, but there was just, you only needed one member from the side of this really fed Jumbo squad to be alive to dish out that damage, and this time it was the Annie, and Udyr again really strong, you know, dishing out a lot of consistent damage, soaking up stuff, but it really was the Annie MVP at the end of the day that, you know, solidified that win, and looks like you're gonna solidify that Dragon Soul as well.
Ocean Soul is so huge on this team. Look at the Senna and all the lifesteal available on Justinian and the healing on Morn as well. It's just going to be so nice for them. 23 minutes into the game as well. 4-0 Dragons is always something that's super nice if you're a team trying to make that final push towards a victory. And Tufts definitely in a good spot to try and do just that.
Yeah, and while some people still need to take their resets, you know, most of the team is back up, you know, ready to push out this mid lane and maybe threaten this Baron.
Yeah, Baron is still on the table here. Interestingly enough, though, Adi, 5,000 gold is still the lead here for the Jumbos. It's kind of remained stagnant for the past few minutes, so haven't been doing too much to currently extend their lead. Obviously, the Soul puts a huge amount of gold influx in favor of Tufts, just given the amount of stats and regen it gives. So that's always something that's always nice to have. But yeah, right now, as we said before, it's going to be a close game. Both of these teams know how to hold and make sure that the game doesn't end too quickly here. So it's definitely not over yet for Penn State.
Yeah, but I think this is like one of the stronger leads we've seen at this point in the game, in this match at least. You know, 12 kills, 5k gold, Dragon Soul. It's gonna definitely be a tall order for Penn State to come back in this one.
Once again, going to be Justinian on split push duty, going to take down that outer turret on the bot side with 4 other members headed here in around the Baron pit. Justinian always going to have that side lane advantage over Duckwings at this point. So yeah, definitely going to be impactful here. Easy Life has caught out Dystopia Reaper though. The exhaust is too late. The flash has been failed. A solo kill going over to the Annie as the fire monster will take him down. Justinian going to get a nice chunk on the Duckwings as well. And now with the 4v5 and Mr. Lazy bot side, might be time to look for Baron.
Yeah, I mean, they might try to find a pick on Justinian, but Justinian still has TB. There's 4 members here against the, I think that's 2 from Penn State. Unless Penn State can pull off a miracle, this is going to be a Baron buff for the Jumbos.
Yeah, the DPS isn't that big from Tufts early on in this game with the Baron, but sitting at a 4v5, I mean, it's going to be really hard for anybody on Penn State to get into the pit, and it looks like nobody will. They're not even going to try. It looks like Baron will easily go over to the Jumbos, and yeah, they're just going to get the backs off easily, and that is now a 7k gold lead coming out for Tufts as they want to close out the series.
Yeah, 7k goal lead, Dragon Soul, Baron buff. These are things we never really saw together at 26 minutes of the game during this match, but the Jumbos have found a way to get it for themselves and are now looking to try to close this game out.
And that was all easy life there in that chain of events. Getting the pick onto the Dystopia Reaper was so massive. With him dead, you can't even fight from the backside with the Requiem. So it's just like it was really difficult after that for anybody on Penn State to continue to go in onto the pit. And getting that pick was crucial. Easy Life doing such a great job. And now you have a Sunless Karthus for the next couple of minutes as you have the Baron buff.
Yeah, I mean, not too much has really happened yet. I mean, Jumbo's still coming back from their reset, but you got Justinian in the top lane, Udyr in the bot lane, and no really other objectives coming up for a while. Elder Dragon is still 2.5 minutes away. I mean, there is definitely a big lead for the side of the Jumbos, but Elder Dragon could be a point of contention. Like, if the Penn State is somehow able to steal it, they might be able to, you know, have a minute or two where they start winning fights.
Oh, it looks like Penn State's going to try to go for a pick onto Justinian here. 5 members pummeling down the top side, but the hook shot will prevent any re-engage. Justinian will get out safely, and now, with all the members top side, Morn is going to push down here onto this bottom lane turret. As will Jansu and Belisarius going down onto the inner. They're going to land the hook, though, onto Belisarius. Got to be a little bit careful here. No death charge used just yet. Morn and Jan will take down the bottom lane tier 2, and the tier 2 in the top side will go down to Justinian.
Yeah, and that failed attempt means two more towers taken down. Udyr and Camille just being rampant on those towers. The Baron up minions doing so much damage, and again, you know, they're just bleeding out so much.
Yeah, and this is definitely a bit suffocating so far for Penn State. Really difficult for them to try and go in without that numbers advantage. Belisarius is going to hit the Solar Flare, going to try to go in to 3 members of Penn State. Mooch is here as well. The shields are huge, but that's the engage coming out from Duckwings. Can Mr. Lazy do enough damage? The Zhonya's will block the Requiem for easy life. Tibbers is still alive, but Jansen will actually go down. Now it's the fight going in favor of Penn State. Mooch is going to try to run forward. The health bars are still super good onto Mr. Lazy. They're going to lock up 3. Easy life is going to get taken down. It's now a 2v4. Morn is still here. He's going to end up going down with Belisarius, as that is another hook going down onto the Udyr. Is he fast enough to escape? The answer might be yes, but you gotta watch out. Your base might be in a bit of trouble here, Penn State, as Belisarius ends up falling, but Justinian, sorry, I mixed up the names, is able to take down that inhibitor on the top side.
And boom. That's the team fight that Penn State wanted. Belisarius being a little too aggressive with that play, you know, going for that E ulti, you know, without really any follow-up from anyone there. Easy Life couldn't really get his ultimate down, and Jancy was able to layer his ultimate, but it only just did a little bit of damage. The Karthus, overall, they were fine. They were able to turn that fight, get it on their terms. The ADC and mid were like forced into stasis so early, and they were just able to like, reposition and take over that fight.
Luckily for Tufts, though, they'll be 5 members strong as the Elder Dragon spawns. It's going to be spawning just about now. Got to be careful, though. Easy Life has a teleport, but is not at the pit just yet. Doesn't look like Penn State wants to start up the objective first. Want to just try to work around, make sure that the Jumbos aren't the ones who take it down.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, that fight, that was, again, like a bit of a misplay from Jumbos, but also 4v5 as Justinian was not there. Justinian was taking that bottom inhibitor, and speaking of bottom inhibitor, look at the top lane inhibitor. The super minions are starting to crash in the base, and that's the signal for, you know, Penn to try to pull the trigger, because if not
Elder
now,
Dragon's
they're
so
gonna
low.
lose it.
It's gone. Wait, yeah, Penn State just picks up the Elder Dragon. They burst it down super quickly. They're going to push on to the fight here as well. Killer Instinct coming in from Mr. Lazy. And now Justinian is the one under fire as well. The burn won't be able to take down any of the members, but now they got to be careful because Super Minions are pushing into the base. Double teleports are always available from the solo laner, so any overextension from Penn State could mean they lose the series.
You know, if you're gonna tell me that in a normal match that like there's gonna be a 7k goal lead, Baron buff, and Dragon Soul, and it'll still be a close game, normally I wouldn't believe you, but with this match so far, that just kind of makes sense. You know, Penn State, you know, keeping composure, sneaking that Elder Dragon, and you know, finding a good fight for themselves. And while they're down Nexus Tower, you know, this is their best bet for a pact of victory in this game. But Morin doesn't want them to win. Morin is running down that Kaisa and forcing the flash out.
Super fast, gonna get the taunt, gonna get the stun, gonna get the knockup. Mr. Lazy's trapped underneath the ultimatum. They're gonna take down first. They're fighting under the Elder Dragon buff. 5-man knockup from Duckwing is the signal for Penn State to continue to push down. The executes are there. They're gonna take down 2 already. Belisari's sitting on to Mr. Lazy, but he's gonna get taken down as well. What a knockup from Duckwing, taking down every member of the Jumbos, and they're gonna potentially try to end the game here.
Yeah, I mean, Guardian Angel from the Kaisa, keeping her alive after that burst damage. The Annie ultimate was there with the Senna ultimate, but it doesn't matter because there's a Guardian Angel. And the re-engage from Penn State, the Malphite ulti, the Kaisa just doing so much DPS meant that, you know, they're able to win that fight, especially with that Elder Dragon. And maybe a little overzealous from Jumbo, trying to force a fight there, you know, after they got that flash from Kaisa. But the Elder Dragon might turn into a Baron for Penn State.
Adi, I might have overreacted a little bit there. They did not end the game. There were still a bunch of towers available, but it was 2 towers going down. Morn, can you do it? You cannot. Did not have access into the pit. Was not able to steal the Baron. But that's another major objective going over to Penn State. They are not going down without a fight. Take a look at gold. It's only 2,000 in favor of Tufts, but the double teleports are coming in. Morn and the rest of the Jumbos are going to try to go in. They're going to lock up the 80 carry. Mr. Lazy just no longer has Guardian Angel. Will go down to 4v5 in the next 50 seconds. What can Tufts do?
Yeah, they're saying what Baron buff, what Elder. We're the ones who had all the agency in this game. We're the ones making the plays. We're the ones with the double teleport on the mana-less, flashless, GA-less ADC. And looks like this Baron buff for Penn State is going to mean they lose their inhibitor tower.
Will be a bit scary, but the minions coming out from Penn State will be super useful. Having those buff to up creeps is definitely going to provide a lot of value, going to prevent the siege from going over too fast. Mr. Lazy is still dead for another 20 seconds, but it doesn't look like Tufts going to be able to end the game within that time frame. Can they actually end up getting a pick, though? Easy Life has been caught out with the depth charge, but no re-engage coming out from Penn State. Justinian is in onto the back line. They're going to lock up Dystopia Reaper. Oh, they're going to kill him. They finally take him down as Jansu finishes off with the crit. Now it looks like the fight is now going in favor. Mr. Lazy is about to spawn. Justinian has to be careful. The ultimate from Malphite is still there. Tufts cannot remain grouped. Here comes Mr. Lazy. He's back here. The depth charge will land onto Morn. Not the target you're looking for, but you'll take that any day. The killer instinct will come in. Another kill. Could go over with the Udyr. It's zooming out of the fight. Now it looks like Easy Life might be caught, but look at the shield coming out from Jansu. They're huge. That's going to be a mooch going down. Justinian is back in onto the 80 carry. Same time, same place, buddy. That's going to be Roots taking it down Justinian, but it does not matter. Double kill. Going over to Jansu. The ace is through, and Tufts will win the series. They will stay alive, and they'll move on to the next round of the CSL playoffs.
What a game. So much action. No team giving up. And with a 59 kill game in 34 minutes, Jumbos will take down Penn State and move on through the playoff bracket.
What a series. It was banger after banger after banger. Every game was so close. Every game was over 35 minutes long, it seemed like. But at the end of the day, it is Tufts coming out with I guess you can call it a reverse sweep, taking the victory and moving on to the next round of CSL. We'll say goodbye to the Nittany Lions for now. We'll see them again in the near future next year. But Adi, what a series that was. And some huge members stepped up in those later stages of the fights.
Yeah, I mean, just talk about the Jumbos, you know, I feel like this has been like a kind of a shift from their like early play style. You know, we kind of just saw like go top, go jungle, you know, bot lane does their thing, they get their engages, they like do what they want. They'll be strong later when, you know, Argentine import then Justinian now, you know, comes down and carries their mid game on like with the help of the really strong jungler. But this time they're really showing that like, you can have like different playstyles and different strengths. You know, Easy Life, big MVP in those like last 2 games, shutting down the mid laner so much, making so many plays, holding that Timbers every single fight, making sure that Mr. Lazy couldn't pop off. And although there was that like last fight where Kai'Sa had the GA, so the Annie ulti wasn't really able to take her out of the fight. Just doing so much work, and oh my god, I don't know if you can tell that this game was so exciting, man. I'm just, whew.
Lots of MVP candidates to really look at for this game, for this series, but it is going to be Tufts moving on to stay alive another day. They'll be back here tomorrow. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with an interview.
All right. Welcome back, guys. I'm here with Easy Life after a really strong performance, a really nice close win. Just have a couple questions I wanted to ask. There's a Loki interview. First off, how are you guys feeling after that close game one?
We weren't feeling too bad. It was more like we warmed up before our games, but I felt like we still had to take some time to get like rolling, and game one was just not it. We lacked the damage, basically kill their tanks, so that's what ended us
Hmm.
causing the loss.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to talk about was, I mean, obviously, you had that role switch like halfway through the season. You're now playing as the mid laner instead of the top laner. How's that role switch been, in your opinion?
I think it's been working out really well because Theo just lane gaps every top laner he plays against because he's better mechanically and he has better macro and micro, and he also manages the wave really well, and his picks just work with our comps. So
Hmm. Yeah. No, it's definitely looked pretty strong. I mean, obviously, you guys have had strong performance through the playoffs. I just want to talk a little more about like your role as a mid laner. I feel like during the beginning of that switch, you were more on champions like Galio and Oriana, like providing a ton of CC and like not as like much of a carry style. But recently, you've like started playing more champions like Talon and Ani. Talon, Annie, and Ari. You want to talk a little bit about like how your role as like the mid laner on this team has changed?
I feel like it still stayed about the same. I can like control mage is always like a good comfort pick to play, but when if they play like Karthus or something, like Annie is just a hard counter to it, and I feel like that worked really well game 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Ari is also a comfort pick for me, so it can be played whenever, and it's if we need a more aggressive mid, then we can play Ari.
Yeah.
And Talon, on the other hand, I think it's just strong right now, but I don't think it's very situational. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Obviously, the Annie was a really big part of winning those games 2 and 3. But yeah, looking at game 3, obviously, like you guys were really far ahead for a large part of the game. You know, like probably the biggest lead you guys had at like any point in the game, like during this entire match. You guys had like 7K gold lead, like Dragon Soul, a Baron buff. But then like there was that like awkward fight around Elder Dragon where you lost both Elder Dragon and Baron. What were you guys like feeling after that?
I think we weren't feeling too bad. It was just we just had to stall it out and wait for them to either make a mistake or wait for Baron and Elder to run out. But we obviously just forced a losing fight when we tried to pick the Kaisa.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just unlucky.
Yeah.
And yeah, our setup for Elder wasn't that great as well. So
Mm-hmm. No, but obviously you were able to turn off that play at the end. You know, pick off the Kaisa with double double TP play. So
yeah.
worked out in the end. Yeah, I mean, obviously really good performance today. Do you have like anything you guys are like planning on working on? Anything you're gonna try to focus on tomorrow for your game?
We just need to communicate more and make sure we're helping out Aaron or Morn in the jungle, and make sure we're getting power for him for scuttles, and also making sure we're setting up vision for objectives earlier. So
Mhm. All right, awesome. Well, thanks, Will, for joining in with us. Just the last standard question we ask at the end of all these interviews. You got any shout outs?
yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to my girlfriend Kathy, who's been watching me since the start of the season, and I've also want to give a shout out to everyone on A team, especially my roommate Theo, who's been here helping me like in coaching as well, and as well as our coaches who put in a lot of time while reviewing and finding scrims for us. So
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much again. Good job. Congratulations on your win. Hopefully, we'll see another strong performance tomorrow. For those of you in chat, yeah, I think we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, Andrew and I will close out the stream. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much to Will for the amazing interview here. Adi, we're not done seeing the Jumbos. They refuse to let us get off of work. We're going to be back here tomorrow. Jumbos going to be facing the winner of Virginia Commonwealth University and Florida Atlantic. That match is going on right now. We'll learn about the opponent in a little bit once that series concludes. But yeah, Adi, I mean, what a game. What a series coming out from Tufts.
Yeah, such an amazing game. Like you were saying, just banger after banger. It was so many close fights, so many memes sitting at the edge of my seat. I obviously had a lot of fun casting it. I hope you guys in chat had a lot of fun watching too. Thanks you guys all for coming out to watch. It's Always nice to talk to someone instead of just speaking out into the void. It's been yeah, a great experience. And hopefully we get to continue to run tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see you all there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. for when Tufts University takes on the winner of VCU and Florida Atlantic. With that, we're going to say farewell for now, and we'll see you all next time.